Chapter 591, Mount Sumeru 4. The fifth seat of the Radiance Eight Immortals, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, gazes silently at Seo Unyun after slicing him in half. The great devil who wreaked havoc upon Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, committing a grand massacre. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord reads the wisdom of the being who died by their hand. Crystal Glass Being, Seo Unyun. That is the name of the one now lying in halves. O Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. O Great One, truly, to have descended for our sake and slay that devil. The divine spirits, who had either fled or hidden from Seo Unyun's rampage, now emerge and begin to praise the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Be silent, but the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord cuts off all their voices with a cold tone. I did not kill him. He escaped. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord radiates silver-white light as they look towards the teleportation formations at the edge of the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Their appearance carries a trace of fury, causing the divine spirits to tremble in fear. The moment this immortal sought to annihilate him, he slipped into the true domain of death, shedding his shell and fleeing. What remains before their eyes now is nothing more than a husk. A pitiful remnant, even less than the vestiges that appears when advancing to true immortality. Yet, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord still reaches out and condenses even this scrap into above their palm. The remains of Seo Unyun merge with the vestige the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord possesses. Did anyone recognize that the one who just escaped is the return of Vast Cold, whom Radiance Hall has placed a bounty upon? Their words send the divine spirits into panic. We do not know. None of us could recognize him. We truly did not know he was the return of Vast Cold. From what we know, that being had only just advanced to true immortality in the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain. For the past 100,000 years, the only one known to have practiced the formula of the Radiance 10 Heavens is the Madam Ghost Mother Gui Mu Niang Niang Kong Minhe of the Twin Holding Heavenly Domain. Is the Great One saying, that upper immortal was him? Indeed, I do not know what trickery he used, but it seems he managed to advance to upper immortal without anyone realizing. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord glares into the distance, their eyes narrowing. When an Ender enters the domain of Radiance Hall, the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, all 8 of the Radiance 8 Immortals are alerted. Yet, despite Seo Unyun running rampant in the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, I knew nothing. Moreover, even after he advanced to Upper Immortal, none of us noticed or could respond. A fierce light bursts from the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord's eyes. So that's it. It's the immortal title. The title Crystal Glass Being was hiding his existence from us, shielding him from our gaze. Fortunately, it is impossible for an Ender to completely hide their presence in the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, causing his existence to be faintly revealed. The immortal title Crystal Glass Being. As the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord reflects on this title, they recall the one who must have bestowed it. Hyeon Rang, are you not sick of this? Are you being broken again? Revealing their fury, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord turns towards the Elephant Nose Heavenly Domain. If he has fled beyond the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, that immortal title will make him untraceable once more. Must this Ares Hyeon Rang be discarded as well? There is neither light nor darkness. A world of nothingness that no brush nor tongue could describe. I blanky come to my senses there. This place is. It is the domain of purity. Did I survive? TSTSTSTSTSTSTS. Regaining consciousness within the domain of purity, I force my body to move with all my strength. As I surface from the domain of purity, what comes into view is the interior of a teleportation formation's dimensional gate. I am flying from the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain towards the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain. I let out a sigh of relief. I barely made it. If I hadn't refined Heavenly Escape even further after witnessing the Hyeon Mu of my past life, no. If I hadn't reflected on my martial arts after seeing her, I would have withered away, trapped in the small heavenly domain of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, long before the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. That was dangerous. It was an impulsive decision that even I am shocked by. To cross the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain unprepared. Honestly, thinking back now, it was pure madness. I was out of my mind. Quite literally, it's something I would have never attempted without the madness of the head realm. Even if the great nets and immortal lords had left on expeditions, what if they had returned? Even though Heavenly Escape is the ultimate technique for concealment and escape, it is honestly difficult to use consecutively. If the immortal lords and great net immortals had returned, I would have to use Heavenly Escape consecutively just to flee. Even in hindsight, it was pure insanity. Quachwachwachwa, I feel the ripple of dimensions. At the same time, the familiar bearing tree heavenly domain appears before me. I'll be continuously regressing to the sun and moon heavenly domain in the future. I can't keep doing this. I envelop the bearing tree heavenly domain with my earth tribe senses. Geeing, and perhaps having noticed me, I can sense Glass Peacock in the far distance hurtling towards me in a frenzy. Glass Peacock sends a voice transmission across vast space-time. An immortal beast I'm seeing for the first time. You are, wait, that mark engraved on your soul. What is that? This won't do. Stay right there. Stay right there. ... I ignore Glass Peacock and immediately move to the middle realm where Jaeon Myung-hoon is located. I'll have to quickly raise my realm to Great Net. For now, there's no other option. Or, perhaps, I could search for an artifact that shields the mind. If there's a decent immortal treasure, I could use that for mental protection. With that thought, I first vomit the lightning sacred sea from inside my body and speak to Golden Shaking Bird, who is trembling violently within it. How about it, Golden Shaking Bird? Didn't this immortal tell you? This immortal truly has no intention of lying. Now, lead me to where he is. Quote. Golden Shaking Bird meets my consciousness as though about to speak, but then shuts her mouth again. However, she doesn't resist like before. Perhaps she thinks that a being as strong as me has no reason to deceive someone like her. I glance behind me. Quote. Glass Peacock is closing in. Once we find Yang Soo-jin's successor, be ready to activate the Great Desolate Path immediately. Unless you want all of us caught and defiled for hundreds of thousands or millions of years by Glass Peacock. Golden Shaking Bird flinches the moment she hears the name Glass Peacock and opens her mouth. Quote. If what the Distinguished One says is true, I will prepare to activate the Great Desolate Path immediately. But if you're lying, I will hole myself up in the lightning sacred sea for eons and watch as you get violated by Glass Peacock. Sure, that won't happen, so do not worry. Ah, and one more thing, when you meet him, do not face him directly. After warning Golden Shaking Bird, I go to find Jaeon Myung-hoon. Jaeon Myung-hoon, located in one of the middle realms within the bearing tree heavenly domain, widens his eyes as I appear before him. Seo-eun, Yun, quote. It's been a while, Jaeon Myung-hoon. I glance at Jaeon Myung-hoon. Unlike before, Jaeon Myung-hoon doesn't immediately advance to true immortality upon meeting me. Single quote. I see, the heavenly venerable of the underworld, that cunning existence. Because Jaeon Myung-hoon is already a true immortal. Fate has twisted. Before our meeting, Jaeon Myung-hoon seems to have fused with the Tangwa painting I brought from my past life. Gaining confidence through that power, he has long since advanced to true immortality. The image of the Tangwa remains vividly imprinted on Jaeon Myung-hoon's fate. Master. Ignoring my warning, Golden Shaking Bird bursts out from lightning sacred sea and dives straight into Jaeon Myung-hoon's arms. Single quote. If this was before Jaeon Myung-hoon's Touré immortal advancement, I would have punished her, but I'll let it slide. Fortunately, since he's already advanced, there won't be a problem even if he meets with us. Kurururung. I look up at the sky of the middle realm, now starting to darken. Golden Shaking Bird, Glass Peacock, they are enveloping the entire Divine Thunder realm with their true body. It's cutting off our escape route. Immortal Art, Glass Avidya Advancement Light, Glass Peacock's signature technique unfolds. A light that turns everyone into fools. But I'm not foolish enough to fall for it this time. Immortal Art, filling the heavens governing view. Suua, a hazy mist blankets the entire Divine Thunder realm. The light that turns foes into fools and the mist that turns all into losers collide. Filling the heavens governing view blocks Glass Peacock's immortal art head-on, scattering and diffusing it completely. Golden Shaking Bird, it's Glass Peacock. If you don't want to be made a complete mess, move fast. Quote. Understood. Golden Shaking Bird sniffs Jaeon Myung-hoon's scent and makes a blissful smile as she sluggishly starts moving. Her slow pace makes my blood boil, but eventually, Golden Shaking Bird returns to the lightning sacred sea and reaches out her hand on the 100th floor where the Great Desolate Path lies. Kugugugugu. Lightning sacred sea's Great Desolate Path starts resonating with Golden Shaking Bird's soul. Kururururung. Glass Peacock's will clashes against mine. Impress. Is this the mark one left behind? Why don't I remember it? But, fine. This immortal art of defeat. This history of failures and losses you've endured. This realm of immortal beasts you reached by carving through your bones. I really like it. I like it. I like it so much. Pot. Glass avidya advancement light shines even brighter, pouring down onto my filling the heavens governing view. What is your name, newbie? I keep my mouth shut, but in an instant, Glass Peacock draws out my history through some inexplicable means and uncovers my true name. I see. Crystal Glass Being, Co Unyan. Immortal Beast Candle Shadow, huh. Ahahaha. So you're Crystal Glass Being. Nice to meet you. This immortal is Glass Peacock. My immortal title is Ignorant One Wu Mingzi, Avidya Being. Remember it well, because this Ignorant One Glass Peacock is the one who will pin you beneath me and violate you for at least 5 million years. At the searing heat rising inside me, I bite my lip hard. I want to grab Golden Shaking Bird by the throat right now. Even if it's me, going head to head with Glass Peacock would only end up costing me. I could win, but the longer I stay near this seductive immortal beast, the more I feel my mind becoming tainted. I don't want this to drag on. A master who taught me is still a master, regardless. But something that is crude and vulgar is crude and vulgar regardless. I pour all my strength into filling the heavens governing view, scattering Glass avidya advancement light. Ha 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 ha, you scattered, Sanlin, my light. Soon, I'll lay eggs, Sanlin, in you too, so wait for me. Of course, if you want, I can let you lay eggs, Sanlin, in me as well. This feeling, this history, the depth of this refinement and study. Damn it, Crystal Glass Being. I like you. Quote. Kururururung. Glass Peacock begins to descend into the Divine Thunder realm. Countless living beings in the Divine Thunder realm go into heat all at once, pairing off and mating. Some males with males, and females with females too. Regardless, I can feel Glass Peacock's presence corrupting the minds of the living beings. Glass Peacock's obsession starts to pierce through my filling the heavens governing view. I could intercept it with the impermanence sword, but I honestly don't want to. After all, the being before me is the past of one who had been my master. Golden Shaking Bird, quickly activated before I kill you. I feel Golden Shaking Bird, now fully merged with the Great Desolate Path. Please just wait a little. Gathering energy takes. This damn thing. I rage at Golden Shaking Bird's leisure and flood the Great Desolate Path with a surge of my Twilight True energy. Uboobup. Please just wait a little, Elder. UBUP. Activate it now. Finally. Kwong. Glass Peacock's heat pierces through my immortal art of failure. I love you, Crystal Glass Being. Let us become one. Damn it all. And just before Glass Peacock lunges at me. Great Desolate Path, activated. The world becomes engulfed in lightning. Jaeon Myung-hoon, Golden Shaking Bird, and I are transported into a world made entirely of lightning with the lightning sacred sea. Kururururung. The entire world is thunder and lightning. A familiar place. It's the teleportation space of lightning created when the Great Desolate Path activates. Ahaha, how is it, Elder? Quite impressive. Ghost face killing heavenly order. Kia, the curses and pain I've endured rise to the level of immortal arts and spread across the entire Great Desolate Path. Kyog, Golden Shaking Bird screams, and I grit my teeth. You damn thing, you do this even knowing what kind of existence Glass Peacock is. Kuog, Kuhahahaik, Kuhog, Hukaik, Kaik, Hiok, what are you doing? Don't you know that if I lose focus, we might return to where we originally were? Did you want to be violated by Glass Peacock? What kind of dogshit were you pulling? Did you not realize that Jaeon Myung-hoon, you, and I almost ended up violated into a complete mess and turned into idiots by Glass Peacock? I shout at Golden Shaking Bird. Kwakijijijik. Golden Shaking Bird creates an incarnation in the form of a small hummingbird and appears before me and Jaeon Myung-hoon, who are still trying to grasp the situation. First, I apologize for playing a prank on Master. However, please understand there was a reason for this prank. A reason? Jaeon Myung-hoon asks, puzzled, while I glare at Golden Shaking Bird. If you can't explain it properly, expect to receive the same pain you just felt. Ha, there is a proper reason. First, should I call you Senior Brother Crystal Glass Being? Quote. Forget it, I don't want to hear, Senior Brother, from you. Call me Elder. Understood. First, it was revenge for Elder not giving me any proper reason and pulling out the lightning. Sacred Sea then crossing the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Surely, Elder knows that if something had gone wrong, the lightning Sacred Sea could have ended up being an offering to the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. The mention of revenge nearly makes my eyes flip, but I control my breath and hold back. She's not wrong. From her perspective, it's like some lunatic uprooted her home and then crossed a pirate island. This must be retribution. What is the second reason? That was for the sake of my master. Oh, I thought it was simply revenge against me, but it seems there's a proper reason. Whenever my master used the Great Desolate Path, he always used it like this. What? Whenever the heavenly punishment supreme deity or their lackeys were chasing my master, he would always let them get right up to his nose before activating the Great Desolate Path to escape. It was a way of taunting them while also gathering as much information as possible before fleeing. Quote. Because my master always escaped that way in his past life, I thought perhaps the present master might recall his past and gave it a try. So bringing Glass Peacock right up to our noses and then fleeing wasn't just for revenge, it was also to trigger Jeon Myung-hoon's past life memories. I let out a bitter smile. Well, now I feel a little bad. Honestly, in my view, we are completely different beings who only share the same fate as the past enders. But from her perspective, sharing the same fate means being the same person, which is why she says such things. I nod. Quote. Fine, I'll acknowledge it, but it's a high-risk method, and it doesn't seem to have helped Jeon Myung-hoon much, so don't do it again. Golden Shaking Bird stays silent at my words, and Jeon Myung-hoon, who seems to grasp the situation, speaks up in support. Why yeah, Seo Eun-yeon is right. Don't do that again. Yes, master, I have received your command. I introduce Golden Shaking Bird to Jeon Myung-hoon, and we spend about a day inside the Great Desolate Path, deciding on our next destination. The next day arrives. After catching up with Yohee, who has separated from our fusion, Hong Fan, who has been within my body until now, and Golden Shaking Bird and Jeon Myung-hoon, we decide to head towards the destination we set last night. Alright then, Golden Shaking Bird. As we decided last night, let's head to the Good Site Heavenly Domain first. Yes, then I will begin the transfer to the Good Site Heavenly Domain. Golden Shaking Bird nods and begins activating the Great Desolate Path. Kururururung. Within the world of thunder and lightning, we begin preparing to move into the heavenly tribulation within the Good Site Heavenly Domain. Hong Fan and Yohee return inside my body, while Jeon Myung-hoon and I sit in a lotus position and silently observe the Great Desolate Path. Great Desolate Path, activating. Destination, Good Site Heavenly Domain. Kururururung. Thunder roars and we set off towards the Good Site Heavenly Domain. That's what should have happened. Quote. I feel something strange and glance at the surroundings. Jeon Myung-hoon abruptly jumps to his feet. His eyes begin to turn bloodshot. This energy is Golden Shaking Bird. Quote. Jeon Myung-hoon, calm down. Golden Shaking Bird won't be able to answer. What? Quote. Time has fractured. Under the attraction force of a formidable existence, the world has momentarily come to a halt. A being like Golden Shaking Bird won't even be able to resist. I'm saying the only ones who are conscious here are us. The surroundings are frozen. The Great Desolate Path, which was about to activate. Yohee and Hong Fan, who were chatting inside. Me, even the seething lightning around us. Everything is at a standstill. And inside this frozen space-time, Kwakijijik, a portion of the lightning begins to surge, and from within, a figure emerges. It's a foot, a pure white foot, as clean as freshly fallen snow, gently steps into this space. A palace attire made of lightning. A hair of white. A strange being, their face hidden. It is Zhengli. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Jeon Myung-hoon and I simultaneously tremble, and Zhengli smiles. This is surprising. I only permitted the consciousness of the heaven-destroying one, but your will is so immense that time stop didn't work. What a monster you are, Seo Eun-yeon. Quote. It's been a while, Zhengli. I greet Zhengli calmly, exuding killing intent. But Jeon Myung-hoon grits his teeth as red lightning sparks around him. Quote. Have you come, seeking death, my nemesis? Kukik, someone like you, kill me, absurd. I, who acts on behalf of my lord, stand equal to the judges of the underworld. I can crush the likes of you beneath my finger. Kududududuk. Zhengli's aura covers the entire Great Desolate Path. Jeon Myung-hoon collapses to his knees, struggling even to breathe. Yet, even as he kneels, he cannot suppress his fury. Red lightning seeps from his 7 orifices as he slowly begins to rise again. It looks as though he's weeping blood. Zhengli stretches out her hand, as if intent on finishing him. A terrifying authority of heavenly tribulation can be felt from the surroundings. Quote. That won't do. I summon the wheel behind my back and take a step forward. Zhejiang. Zhengli's aura is nullified by my presence. I know I'll lose to you, but I am confident I can make you regret attacking us. Keying. The jade of yin-yang and 5 elements gathers before me. It's not my preferred method, but right now, even the great mountain supreme deity's way is necessary. I am prepared to sacrifice myself to force-feed you the phenomena extinguishing mantra. If you are set on attacking us, be ready for the price. Kukik. Damn it. I sensed it the moment the temptation failed, but you really aren't human, Xiao Unyun. Zhengli laughs as she looks at me. Zhengli and I confront each other for a moment. A while later, she lets out a chuckle and steps back. Chi. Her oppressive aura fades. Jian Myonghun, as if released from his tension, collapses entirely and coughs up crimson spiritual energy. Even I am wary of that savage mountain divine spirit's mantra, so let us end this fight here. State your purpose for coming here. I was going to tell you anyway. Don't rush me. Pajijijijik. Lightning writhes and forms a chair. A seat made entirely of lightning, without any true substance. Despite only having form, Zhengli sits comfortably upon it. My lord speaks thus. I seek the strength of you enders. Come to the Horseear heavenly domain and create a gap in the imprisonment heavenly domain. Do this, and this immortal shall bestow upon you the greatest gift that I can give. Exclamation mark quote. A sudden collaboration offer from the heavenly punishment supreme deity, Dugon. I flinch at the offer, while Jian Myonghun gasps for breath as he glares at Zhengli. She smiles faintly and extends her hand towards us. Choose. Take my lord's hand and liberate my lord to obtain future hope. Or, be ground to dust along with Mount Sumeru by the great mountain supreme deity who is gathering their strength. Chapter 592, Mount Sumeru 5. With you, Badududuk. Jian Myonghun grits his teeth. Join hands. With you. His face twists into an evil spirit. Join forces with you. With you. Do you think I could ever accept that? Kururururung. A powerful thunderous roar bursts from within Jian Myonghun, pushing back Zhengli's presence alongside mine. Zhengli chuckles. Well, I'm only here to make an offer. Whether you accept it or not is up to you. And, do you think you can escape their plan just because you refuse? One way or another, you will end up liberating my lord. Sooner or later, by some method or another. My lord is merely extending a hand to offer you pitiful things a chance. I glare at her as I listen. So, you plan to resurrect through Jian Myonghun's body, is it? At my words, Zhengli turns her gaze towards me. For a moment, Zhengli and I stare each other down. Well, that could be one way. In any case, understand that this proposal is entirely for your sake. She seems slightly flustered, perhaps because I saw through their plan so quickly. Jian Myonghun snorts at her. Ha, use me as a vessel for resurrection. Don't make me laugh. You think I'd allow that? I'd kill myself first. Rather than let your lord take my body, I'd shatter every prophecy and throw myself into the underworld to be torn apart. He glares at Zhengli with bloodshot eyes, grinding his teeth. You want us to join hands? Fine, then I'll agree. But, Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Revive every single member of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect who was annihilated by the owner of Heavenly Punishment. Bring them all back, and I'll help you. Zhengli seems to ponder something, while Jian Myonghun mutters in a low voice, as if reconsidering something. Don't even think about lying. Xiao Unyun, if she tries to deceive me with lies, strike her immediately. You can do that, right? Yeah, keying. I activate the authority of the impermanent sword, locking my gaze onto Zhengli. She clicks her tongue and lets out a sigh. What a bunch of nuisances. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. The living beings who return to my lord. In other words, the other rabble other than the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect that were in the human race territory where your sect resided. She must be talking about the residents of Thunder Spirit Island. The ones who returned to my lord have been reborn within them, now living happily as spirits of lightning. Their cultivation is far beyond what it was when they were humans, and their lifespans are longer. Honestly, most prefer this than before. Exclamation mark quote. My eyes widen at this unexpected truth. This is a part of my chest. Feels lighter. Of course, I don't feel completely at ease. But it's as if one of the heavy burdens of guilt, which had been weighing down on me, washes away. Though countless thorns still pierce my chest, it feels like at least one has been pulled out. Single quote. Thank goodness. Back in the 15th cycle, when the entire heavenly human island, the headquarters of the human race, was returned to the owner of heavenly punishment, it hadn't been just pain and despair after all. However, unlike me, whose heart feels somewhat lighter, Jeon Myung-hoon's gaze grows more vicious with each word of Zhengli's explanation. But, your golden divine heavenly thunder sect didn't return to my lord back then. Quite literally, they were completely erased by the falling heavenly tribulation. Ordinary living beings, when they die, pass through the outskirts and fall into the depths of the underworld, where they are judged and then reincarnated. But the authority I used that day, borrowing my lord's power, sealed your spirits within the heavenly tribulation, tormenting them while sending them straight to the depths of the underworld, bypassing the outskirts entirely. Quote. At first, Jeon Myung-hoon's face heaves with anger, but now it gradually calms. I know exactly what this means. When someone feels pain or hatred beyond a point, their rage condenses, and for a moment, they can seem rational. Right now, Jeon Myung-hoon is condensing his fury to its utmost limit. Since they were thrust straight into the depths of the underworld, they would have been judged and reincarnated right away. They are probably living somewhere on this vast Mount Sumeru, reborn according to their karma. Those who accumulated virtue as races like the Earth tribe or Heaven tribe. Those steeped in vice as bugs, livestock, or perhaps as monsters with the fate of Asura. Since it has been some time since then, they have probably reincarnated hundreds of times. She shrugs. Sorry about that. Reviving the dead isn't hard, but finding those who have already reincarnated, especially ones who've done so hundreds of times, with their original fates and natures completely altered, and restoring their memories to present them before you, well. In my current state, that's a bit beyond me. Quote. If the 48 great net true heavenly lords under my lord in their heyday were still intact, it might have been worth attempting. But with my lord imprisoned, it is impossible. The only ones who could manage to do so at this point are probably the heavenly venerable of the underworld or the Sal Tree heavenly venerable, who oversee reincarnation. But neither of them will permit it. The judgments of the heavenly venerable of the underworld only proceed when a spirit has fully accepted its past life. Both heavenly venerables respect the free will of spirits that have come to terms with their lives and moved on to their next. What you are asking for is impossible. Do you understand? Quote. The red fades from Jeon Myung-hoon's eyes. But I still see the endless pain within them. Right now, he is showing the appearance of the broken lightning harbinger. Quote. Why go to such lengths to eliminate any reason I might have to help you? He lets out a hollow laugh. It's a chilling sight, yet Zhengli smiles. While bringing them back is impossible, finding them isn't. Quote. What? You seem desperate to save the humans of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. So, aside from my lord's reward, I will make you this promise. It is a promise in my lord's name. I will ask my lord to find the reincarnations of the humans from the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect who perished by my hand at that time. At that, Jeon Myung-hoon's gaze trembles. The chilling look in his eyes fades slightly. Right now, it is a bit difficult, but once the lord escapes from imprisonment, it is possible. The red lightning heavenly tribulation method you have. Though it is an immortal art Yang-Soo Jin slightly altered, who do you think the original came from? Pachijijik. A net of lightning crackles around Zhengli. By using Indra's net of the red lightning heavenly tribulation, you can trace the history of those who have once been with you through the principle of returning lightning strikes. Of course, you can't do it with your own power. After so many reincarnations, they have long lost their original essence. To find those who have reincarnated hundreds, thousands of times, only the heavenly venerable of the underworld or the lord who fully controls heavenly punishment could manage such a feat. Quote. Help my lord, and they will help you in return. Zhengli extends her hand to Jeon Myung-hoon with a gentle voice. Just then, Jeon Myung-hoon's gaze sharpens once more. Quote. What a joke. You say using Indra's net can help me find the comrades of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Then why in the world would I have to help you? Doesn't that give me even less reason to? Kukik, did you even listen? I even explained it in such detail. Don't tell me you actually believe you could use Indra's net to the same capabilities as my. Of course I can't. Jeon Myung-hoon twists the corner of his lips. But, what if Seo Eun-yun helps me? Quote. Even so, it's just two upper immortals. There's also Golden Shaking Bird. She also definitely mentioned that there are thunder beasts and disciples who followed the Golden Divine. If they help too, Yang-Soo Jin's disciples. Thunder beasts. None of them have reached the realm of Great Net. I'm not the only one who can mobilize manpower. There's Seo Eun-yun too. And, I'm not alone with just Seo Eun-yun. I have comrades in other heavenly domains as well. Kim Young-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, Kong Min-hee, Kim Yeon, and maybe even Oh Hai-seo. There is more than enough manpower I can call upon. With all their strength combined, isn't it possible for us to save the people of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect on our own? Quote. Zhengli silently glares at Jeon Myung-hoon. I hate you all, reincarnated or whatever, whether the rest are living well inside your lord's belly or not. During the time of the returning, back when we were annihilated by heavenly punishment, the ones who trampled the powerless and fried us with heavenly punishment were you. Jeon Myung-hoon pulls out a wooden box from his chest and grips it tightly, trembling. It is the box that holds Jin So-hae's hand. Even if I manage to find the reincarnated them, what am I supposed to do? Huh, didn't you say they reincarnated multiple times? Their essence and fate have changed multiple times. Then doesn't that mean the ones I know are all dead for good? Quote. Hey, if you use certain immortal arts or precious elixirs, there are ways to recover their past life memories. So, you're telling me to go find those who are living peaceful lives now, force their past life memories onto them, and make them suffer the agony of their painful ends all over again. Jeon Myung-hoon grits his teeth as he speaks. I will not join hands with you. Let your lord rot in confinement for 10,800 million years. I don't care what gifts you offer. Quote. You, I am weaker than you. But we are stronger than you. Jeon Myung-hoon's bold declaration. I smile faintly as I watch him. I, too, share the same resolve. After all, you are just another one of our enemies. At my words, Zhengli clenches both fists, her body trembling. You mere fledglings who have just advanced to true immortality. How dare you defy their will? You think the likes of you are stronger than my lord. It seems the words, we are stronger than you, struck her the hardest, as crimson lightning begins to crackle around her. Red. It feels as if the entire great desolate path is being dyed in red. This is dangerous. Zhengli is enraged. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Wing. I recite the phenomena extinguishing mantra, preparing to counter her power at any moment as I glare at her. Jeon Myung-hoon also holds his ground, operating the red lightning heavenly tribulation method. Mere clots of blood who've just stepped into the realm of immortals. Even if you were to ignore me, you dare claim to be stronger than my lord with such empty words. No matter what happens today, I will rip your tongues out. Gugugugugek. The very dimension seems to warp under the weight of her presence. Gradually, Zhengli's form starts to change. The immortal treasure of the heavenly punishment's supreme deity, Zhengli. She seems to be revealing her main body. Just as I think. That. Zhengli suddenly flinches. And immediately after. Understood. Chijijijik. She suppresses her rage and lowers her power. Chijik. Finally, when her red lightning fully subsides, I feel chills running across my entire body. This is. It feels like my brain is trembling. Though my brain has long since ceased to exist, the sheer presence radiating from the being before me feels so immense it's as if my head is burning. I'm gonna throw up. An overwhelming presence is flooding the entire great desolate path. At the same time, I sense Zhengli's consciousness shrinking into a corner, her will vanishing. Having descended into Yohe's body and crossed the Heavenly King heavenly domain not long ago, I immediately understand what is happening. The will of the owner is descending into the body of the immortal treasure. In other words, Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity. The Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity, Dugon, is directly revealing their will through Zhengli's body within the Great Desolate Path. Jeon Myung-hoon clutches his throat, gasping for breath as collapses, while I barely manage to withstand the pressure and stay on my feet. Even while they are imprisoned, with only a fragment of their will. Damn it, the gap between me and a supreme deity is still vast. Kudududududuk. I speak towards the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity as if screaming. It is an honor beyond measure to meet your majesty, the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity. If thee has any words for us later generations, please, we will listen with utmost respect. Ha ha, a faint chuckle. The moment it echoes, the suffocating presence that had engulfed us vanishes, as if it had been a lie. However, I realize that the presence hasn't disappeared but has been compressed deep inside Zhengli's body. The claws have not been retracted, merely held back. I can tell that at any moment, they could reveal a will as powerful as before, no even stronger, and crushes in the entire great desolate path. This immortal has withdrawn my presence, so cease reciting the phenomena extinguishing mantra, ender. Exclamation mark quote. The entity dwelling within Zhengli's body points with a kind voice at the yin-yang 5 elements energy gathering in my hands. I apologize. It is my minimal means of defense. The topic I will speak about from now on will be about Ra Qian, of GWAKM. If you keep reciting, they might overhear. I will not harm you here today. I swear it upon the name of this immortal. Only then do I release the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Seeing this, Dugan reclines on the chair Zhengli has created and speaks. I understand the grudge you bear against this immortal. This immortal, too, knows all too well the feeling of losing those cherished and loved to an unstoppable force. This immortal won't ask you to set aside your grudge or forgive. When the time comes, come for your revenge. At this unexpected response, Jian Myung-hoon and I momentarily wear strange expressions. Their casual invitation to exact revenge makes them seem almost magnanimous, or perhaps simply incomprehensible. But, as always, revenge should never end with revenge alone. You must think of those who remain. What do you mean by that? Jian Myung-hoon speaks as he glares at Dugan, and Dugan responds with a faint smile. It is simple. Did Zhengli not tell you when she first came to convey my will? To choose. Be annihilated by the great mountain supreme deity, or liberate me and seek an opportunity. What is this great mountain supreme deity planning? Jian Myung-hoon questions, not understanding, and Dugan speaks while turning to look at me. You know, do you not? The terror of the great mountain supreme deity. I will skip the unnecessary details and speak bluntly. I do not know exactly when. But, in the near future, all of Mount Sumeru will undoubtedly be destroyed by the hands of the great mountain supreme deity. They turn to Jian Myung-hoon again and speak. And when that happens, all your old comrades, who have reincarnated and are now living peaceful lives, will feel the same agony as then and be annihilated. This time, there will be no chance for even reincarnation. Those struck down by the great mountain supreme deity do not reincarnate. You said you would not seek out their past lives out of concern for their current ones. Wrong. If you truly care about your old comrades, then you must stop the great mountain supreme deity as fast as possible. Revenge is fine, but before seeking vengeance, should you not be protecting those who are still alive? Is that not clearly more important than revenge? Dugan looks at us with a relaxed demeanor and asks, is there any flaw in my logic? Jian Myung-hoon's body trembles. With great effort, he parts his lips and asks me, Co. Yun, I'm listening. Is it true? Will the world really be destroyed by that great mountain supreme deity? You would know, wouldn't you? If it's you. A question that I, the junior brother of the great mountain supreme deity, can clearly answer. I recall the power of the great mountain supreme deity. And I remember that golden wave I saw in my past life. That golden wave that crumbled all heavenly domains. Yes, the great mountain supreme deity can destroy the world. They have the power and the will. Jian Myung-hoon slams his head against the ground. Then, if I join hands with you, will I really be able to save them? At that, Dugan opens his mouth. To answer that, I will first need to explain the mantra they seek to complete. Of course, I do not know every detail, and I am only speaking on what I do know, but I will give you solid evidence on why your comrades can be saved. Then, their explanation that follows is beyond imagination. The mantra the great mountain supreme deity seeks to complete is the splitting heaven mantra Lai Tian Zhen Yan. I freeze in place as I listen to the words of the heavenly punishment supreme deity, Dugan. To be exact, it is less of a mantra and more of a phenomenon. But for convenience, it is called the splitting heaven mantra. This phenomenon where the heavens are torn apart, appears every time you enders are born. What? The phenomena extinguishing mantra of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity was an attempt to reverse the splitting heaven mantra to reach the origin of enders. And the current Great Mountain Supreme Deity's Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique is one of many attempts to reverse the phenomena extinguishing mantra and restore the splitting heaven mantra. Shocking truths begin to pour from the mouth of the heavenly punishment supreme deity Dugan. Chapter 593, Mount Sumeru 6. Splitting Heaven Mantra Lai Tian Zhen Yan. Or rather, the phenomenon known as splitting heaven, Li-Tien. What is born from that phenomenon is precisely as, the Enders, and the current Great Mountain Supreme Deity seeks to reverse the phenomena extinguishing mantra in order to recreate that phenomenon with their own hands. Single quote. But, that's called the splitting heaven mantra. A mantra that tears the heavens apart, Li-Tien. However, as I recall the final scene of my past life, I tilt my head in doubt. Back then, the heavenly domains did collapse, but it didn't feel like it was tearing the world apart. I recall the terrifying golden wave I felt at the time. It was more like devouring the world. In fact, it felt quite similar to the phenomena extinguishing mantra. It didn't feel like it was being unfolded in reverse. Quote. How does the heavenly punishment supreme deity know of such things? During the time when they helped Vast Cold's true immortal advancement, it was a truth hinted to me, who had arrived a step too late to assist. They said they would recreate splitting heaven with their own strength, and when that time comes, to choose one of two options. Become their ally, or become the power source for their splitting heaven mantra. Quote. They are certainly choices befitting GWAKM. But I never thought of helping him. That hasn't changed even now. Rather, I only have thoughts of stopping him. Why is that? In order to explain, I must first ask you something. You know the difference between immortal arts and mantras, correct? I have a general understanding. I explain to them the difference between immortal arts and mantras as I know them. Immortal arts are the spells used by true immortals. In other words, all techniques that twist the principles of the world through one's heart or attraction force. Then what exactly are immortal arts that are specifically referred to as mantras, Genyan, true words? A mantra is essentially a collection of immortal arts. Weaving together a couple immortal arts at a minimum or as many as thousands, and unfolding them is what is called a mantra. The phenomena extinguishing mantra, the flawless mantra, and even wheel, which combines the two, all fall into this category. Even the creation of the small heavenly domain used by the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals was probably a mantra as well. Strictly speaking, even my impermanence sword falls under this classification. The impermanence sword is a collection of immortal arts, starting from filling the heavens governing view to all the ultimate intents of my crystal glass to treading sea raised to the domain of immortal arts. However, since the impermanence sword is something that has fused with my entering heavens, I named it sword rather than mantra. Dugon listens to my explanation and nods. Exactly. Mantras are an assembly of immortal arts. But have you ever considered it this way? What do you mean? The existence of true immortals inherently benefits the world. In one way or another, we are beings that give birth to something within this world. When we issue a fate, that fate itself becomes a cradle of life, and even life itself. True immortals, by their very nature, are beings that create fate. That being the case, as I listen to Dugon's continuing words, I understand what they are saying. Then would it not be correct to say that the immortal arts of true immortals are, in itself, alive? Quote. That makes sense. I nod. The notion that my impermanence sword is alive has been felt down to my bones since its days as the formless sword. The impermanence sword is already alive. In other words, immortal arts can inherently be considered something that possesses life. They simply exist in a form that lives in fusion with true immortals. Within the cells of living organisms, there exist cells that absorb the energy provided by the cells and, in return, supply them with the glucose necessary for survival. Originally, these were separate cells that existed outside of the cells, but at some point, they entered the cells and coexisted, eventually evolving into organelles, or so the theory goes. What was it again? In any case, immortal arts and the impermanence sword give me a similar impression. They function as one of my organs, moving together with me and responding to my heart, but they are existences with their own separate life and heart. That is what immortal arts are. Mantras that weave together immortal arts that possess their own hearts are. Exactly. They are, in essence, another form of innate true immortals. Quote. At those words, Seo Wayol suddenly comes to mind. That guy, could he have also had the potential to become an innate true immortal? For some reason, I feel that this topic could be the key to solving Ohai Seo's madness, so I make sure to commit it to memory. In other words, every mantra we wield is a living entity. More precisely, we should call them living phenomena. At this, Jaeon Myung-hoon frowns slightly, as if he doesn't quite understand. Quote. I don't get it. Can life exist in that form? Why wouldn't it? Well, I've never seen such a life form before. Honestly, it looks like even Seo Eun-yun is a bit doubtful. That much is true. Even though mantras are living phenomena and even considered innate true immortals, I have never, clearly, encountered such an existence. I say that my impermanence sword is alive, but I never felt like I engaged in a rational conversation with it. If you cultivate the formula of the Radiance 10 Heavens, you will get a general understanding. Since that too is a byproduct connected to the mantra of Radiance Hall. Quote. I'm not sure. I've thought that feeling was stronger because it is a realm connected to the Radiance Supreme Deity. In that case, there is a much more intuitive way to explain it. Dugon smirks and gestures toward us. This is not much different from what I have been saying before. To put it plainly, you Enders are ultimately innate true immortals born from the splitting heaven mantra. What? Jaeon Myung-hoon's eyes widen as if they're about to pop out. What do you mean by that? Are you saying, we weren't human? You could interpret it that way. And you would not be wrong. Strictly speaking, you are innate transcendence wearing human skin. What did you think was the reason you could advance in realms so quickly, gain absurd privileges and abilities, and reach this point faster than anyone else? Because you are geniuses. Wrong. You are merely beings hiding within human flesh, gradually shedding that shell and reclaiming the power you originally possessed. Quote. Quote. Jaeon Myung-hoon and I both let out a silent breath at the same time. I especially stare down at my own hands in shock. These hands that have wielded the sword countless times. The power I've accumulated all this time wasn't truly mine. But Jaeon Myung-hoon, having seemingly realized something, releases red lightning across his body. Pachijijik. Quote. I see. I think I can understand. Quote. Quote. But I, unable to comprehend, simply stare at Jaeon Myung-hoon for a moment. He understands this. I, for some reason, feel like I don't understand. Throughout roughly 1,000 lifetimes, I have been regaining the power I have lost, and often been treated as a genius from it. But that was undoubtedly about reclaiming the power I accumulated as a mortal being in my past lives. It was never the feeling of recovering power as a being that was originally a transcendent. Single quote. I don't know. Shaking my head, I asked Dugon a question. Yes, I understand now that a mantra is both a true immortal and an existence. Then, the reason the Great One has not joined the Great Mountain Supreme Deity is. It is simple. Every mantra is the greatest ally of the true immortal who wields it. And for those at our level, it is even possible to manifest the true form of that mantra into this world. You have seen it before. Have you not? The Great Mountain Supreme Deity's mantra. Its true form. Quote. Could it be that the Great Mountain Supreme Deity's mantra is? That is right. I recall the mountain of corpses lying beneath the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, weeping tears of blood as they conveyed their will. Quote. So that Corpse Mountain Blood Sea was GWAKM's mantra. The Corpse Mountain Blood Sea they had tried to feed me all this time, the hordes of vengeful ghosts that always followed them. That was their very mantra and ally. That is right, and there is one more thing. If a mantra is an innate true immortal, would it not also be possible to grind down an existing true immortal and turn them into a mantra? Quote. Quote. Only now do I understand what the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity is trying to say. GWAKM, that insane bastard. The truth is so absurd that a curse slips from my lips on its own. Mantras are innate true immortals. At the same time, true immortals can be turned into mantras. A mantra is the greatest ally of the true immortal who wields it. The Great Mountain Supreme Deity GWAKM told the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity Dugon to become their ally. When that madman said ally and power source, they meant the same thing. Telling the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity to cooperate meant grinding them down and treating them as part of GWAKM's mantra. Using them as a power source meant grinding them down all the same. There was no choice. No, that is not quite right. Becoming a mantra and becoming a power source are undeniably different. If one becomes a mantra, they can retain their sense of self and even exert influence over the Great Mountain's mind. However, becoming a power source means simply being ground up as fuel to activate the mantra. There is a clear distinction. Quote. But I absolutely do not want to become one with that insane madman's Corpse Mountain Blood Sea, that grotesque sight. That is all. Hearing the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity's explanation, I click my tongue. Jaeon Myung-hoon nods and speaks. So, I understand why you refuse to aid that Great Mountain Supreme Deity. But how exactly do you plan to save us if we set you free? The splitting heaven mantra of the great mountain supreme deity exists solely to break through the audience chamber that is called the 33rd heaven, Sanchi Santian, within the head realm, located at the vertex of the sun and moon heavenly domain. In other words, everything that happens before they break through the audience chamber is nothing more than a preparatory stage for activating the splitting heaven mantra. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. I grit my teeth at those words. As expected, I wasn't mistaken. The golden waves I witnessed in my past life had indeed looked as though they were devouring Mount Sumeru. So only after completely consuming Mount Sumeru can the splitting heaven mantra be properly activated to break through the audience chamber. It is a truly terrifying truth. And considering the corpse mountain blood sea that reflects the temperament of the great mountain supreme deity, the preparation phase for the splitting heaven mantra must be the same. They will likely devour the entirety of Mount Sumeru. They will compress this entire world into a single point with the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Then, by unraveling such a phenomena extinguishing mantra in reverse to use the splitting heaven mantra, the 33rd heaven will be breached, and they will immediately reach beyond. Dugon exhales a quiet sigh as they gaze somewhere in the sky. And, at the very moment when the great mountain supreme deity has devoured all of Mount Sumeru, right before they activate the splitting heaven mantra, as everything in Mount Sumeru has become one, for just a single moment, they will reach a state of greatness that no one has ever dreamed of. A state of greatness. Yes, the very first form of all things. Having devoured all seats and origin essences, the state where they manifest the beginning. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. The great mountain supreme deity, for just a single moment. In that one single moment when they have devoured all of Mount Sumeru, they will reach the first light. That is the argument I present to you as the means to escape from the great mountain supreme deity's devilish hands. At their next words, my eyes widen. I once fought against the Radiance 8 Immortals alongside my former subordinates, the Jade Pivot 48 Lightning Heavenly Great Immortals Yushu Shiba Lei Tian Dashian. In exchange for the lives of my loyal retainers, the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain, and all of my power and influence. I learned this truth. Chills. The atmosphere shifts. Is it because they are recalling an unpleasant memory? Dugon's grief takes form, emerging into reality and influencing the surroundings. Drip, drip, something red begins to well up at the tip of Zhengli's chin that Dugon possessed. A crimson liquid flows. It looks like tears of blood. It is an incomparably refined form of heaven and earth spiritual energy, imbued with fury. Because I uncovered the true nature of the radiant supreme deity, and the weakness that light possesses, through Indra's net. And because I also know how to exploit that weakness in the first light, to evade its gaze and survive. Kurung. The surroundings seem to darken. A powerful sense of despair and sorrow sweeps through the surroundings. If you can endure beneath me for just a while, eventually, the great mountain supreme deity will reach the audience chamber and perish on their own. Then, everything will be over. No one can escape under the gaze of light. It's just, I simply did not know before that bowing my head beneath their reign was the only way to survive. Dugon rises from the seat. I have presented my argument. Will you meet your inevitable destruction beneath the splitting heaven mantra of the tyrannical devil god, the great mountain supreme deity, or will you choose to liberate this immortal and seek hope within the certainty of destruction? No matter when it is, make your choice. As the heavenly tribulation of all phenomena, whenever you make your decision, speak to the heavenly tribulation. May you choose wisely. I shall wait within that prison. With those words, Dugon begins walking away. With every step they take, they vanish into lightning alongside Zhengli. Their appearance carries the dignity of an emperor, yet at the same time, they appear unbearably lonely and desolate. Why did you ignore my warning and challenge the audience chamber back then, my friend? I read the lingering thoughts of the heavenly punishment supreme deity as they fade into the void. The last thing on their mind was the vast cold heavenly lord. The inexplicable regret of a being with the attitude of submitting to light. As I witness this, a strange paradoxical feeling along with a sense of kinship wells up within me. Tingle. 16th cycle. What's this? For some reason, seeing Dugon's demeanor strongly reminds me of the 16th cycle. Single quote. I don't know. For now, discussing it with the other comrades seems to be the right course of action. Kijijijik. The surrounding attraction force and spacetime gradually return to normal, and Jaeon Myung-hoon and I exhale quiet sighs. Kururururung. The great desolate path leaps through the world of lightning and arrives at the good sight heavenly domain. Quote. First, Let's find Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon. Let's gather everyone and then discuss together. Agreed. Jaeon Myung-hoon nods heavily, his expression filled with deep thought. Kuru room. With a gesture from Jaeon Myung-hoon, the great desolate path and the lightning sacred sea shrink and enter his body. I secure Hong Fan within myself, making sure that the heavenly venerable of the void never detects him, and then I wait for a moment. By the way, Seo Eun-yun, how are you planning to find Kim Young-hoon in this vast good sight heavenly domain? It's not difficult, just wait a little, a guide will come. What? And before my words can even finish. Blink. As I blink once, a familiar face appears between Jaeon Myung-hoon and me. The heavenly venerable of void. It is the true martial great emperor, Hyeon Mu. You've grown quite a bit. To think you could follow my arrival with your eyes. I merely managed to catch your form. Jaeon Myung-hoon flinches in utter shock at Hyeon Mu's sudden appearance, while I barely manage to perceive the moment she arrives and speak. We are here to find Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon. Ah, Hyeon Mu speaks with empty eyes. He's dead. Sirring. Hyeon Mu raises something black towards me and speaks. If you have complaints, come at me. I will take you on any. Before she can finish speaking, I interrupt her, stepping back while drawing the colorless glass sword and then taking 3 steps forward. In the first step, I infuse my sword energy and the vital essence of my entire being. In the second step, I unleash the refined essence, circulating it through my body and the surroundings. In the third step, I return all that circulated essence back to its origin. These 3 steps contain the quintessence of the martial knowledge I have gained enlightenment on. And at the origin of all circulation, all power is gently returned. This is a single circle, revealing the enlightenment I reached while fighting the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals. I smile faintly. I have drawn a circle. Do you find any flaws in it? Hyeon Mu remains silent. She simply gazes at me with vacant eyes. You must have come here to test a junior and help refine their abilities. However, this junior has already found his path. I have received your teaching, so please return Kim Young-hoon. I know full well that he is not dead. After staring at me for a moment, Hyeon Mu scatters the weapon in her hand. Indeed, you have no need for guidance. Yes, so, you. But in the next moment, Hyeon Mu interrupts me, and I can't help but flinch in surprise at her next words. Will you not engage in dual cultivation with me? Chapter 594, Mount Sumeru 7. Dual cultivation. I am left speechless for a moment and stare at Jaeon Myung-hoon. He also seems dumbfounded, looking at me with vacant eyes. He doesn't know much about the heavenly venerable of the void, but at least he seems to understand that they are some kind of incredible existence. Yet, such an existence suddenly brings up something like dual cultivation out of nowhere, leaving even him bewildered. What in the world is this person thinking? I try to read Hyeon Mu's intent, but as expected, not a single thought leaks out, likely because they are a being who has transcended severing heaven. Even when I attempt to reflect Hyeon Mu's heart through the impermanent sword, all that appears is endless emptiness. Nothing is reflected. For a brief moment of merely 1 second, my mind spins rapidly, overheating as I attempt to grasp the meaning behind Hyeon Mu's words. How long do I contemplate Hyeon Mu's intentions? In the end, unable to find an answer, I decide to confront the situation honestly. I apologize, but I believe that dual cultivation should be done between those who share a mutual sentiment. Hyeon Mu looks at me as if she does not understand. That is strange. Do you not have feelings for me? Seeing her smile meaningfully, I feel a headache coming on. Yes, I do have feelings, but that feeling is not one of wanting to dual cultivate. It is the heart of a martial artist who wishes to challenge the limits of martial arts. Martial artist? So, you are saying that dual cultivation with me is not an act of testing the realm of martial arts? Yes, I mean, I do not understand how it can be interpreted that way. Hyeon Mu clicks her tongue and speaks. Are you not seeking guidance from Kim Young-hoon? That is correct. In any case, if you two wish to meet him, one of you must inevitably dual cultivate with me. But that fool over there would never survive my intense dual cultivation, so. Seo Eun-yun, you must be the one to do it with me. A headache creeps up as I question her. No, I do not understand why dual cultivation with the heavenly venerable is necessary to meet Kim Young-hoon. If he is connected to a space-time of emptiness or within the domain of purity, could you not simply guide us there through a technique that immerses us into the domain of purity? That is also true. However, his current location is a rather special one. The technique you use to reach the domain of purity. It is called heavenly escape. Right, that heavenly escape. If you were to train it yourself to reach Kim Young-hoon, you would need to train for at least tens of millions of years. Will you spend that time training, or will you dual cultivate with me and reach that space immediately? Quote. So, you are saying that dual cultivation is necessary to access that specific space-time. That is correct, and only someone at your level can endure it, which is why I am making the offer to you. Hyeon-mu's expression is serious. She does not seem to be joking. There would be no reason for an existence of her level to lie to me or make fun of me. But dual cultivation, of all things. It's when I spend some time in thought. Hyeon-mu clicks her tongue and speaks. You seem to have many thoughts. Could it be that you lack confidence in dual cultivation? Pardon, and no, that is not the case, but enough. If you lack confidence, just watch from the sidelines and gain enlightenment. I will do it with this one instead. Hyeon-mu approaches Jaeon Myung-hoon, and I, dumbfounded, watch the two. Then, it happens. Jaeon Myung-hoon pulls Jin So-hae's hand from his embrace and shouts. Gal, I do not know which noble being you are, but the only person in this world I will ever dual cultivate with is only one, my true love. So-hae, please, do not trample on my heart. Quote. At those words, the heavenly venerable of void looks at Jaeon Myung-hoon and begins reading his intent and lingering thoughts. And after a short while, Hyeon-mu presses her temple with her index finger as if she has a headache. Quote. Ah, I see, I was wondering why we were not understanding each other. The meaning of the word was different. Damn it, because you have completely sealed your intent, I could not interpret your meaning properly. Pardon. For some reason, Hyeon-mu looks at me with somewhat disdainful eyes and speaks. Just what do you think dual cultivation is? Pardon. Well, mixing yin and yang, is it not something like that? At my response, Hyeon-mu clicks her tongue and speaks. Quote. Tisk, what a filthy-minded fool. Did you only ever think of dual cultivation in that way? And no, dual cultivation shuangshu refers to any cultivation method where two or more cultivators give and receive what they need to improve. Bedroom arts and yin-yang unity techniques are just one aspect of it. Well, I suppose a young one like you, who has only recently become true immortal, would still be ignorant and have shallow knowledge. Quote. The dual cultivation I am referring to is. After carefully listening to Hyeon-mu's explanation of her method of dual cultivation, I finally realize I have misunderstood. Quote. I see. I apologize for showing such vulgar behavior. I heard your immortal title is Crystal Glass Being. Are you trying to become a disciple of Glass Peacock or something? Quote. Enough. So, will you do it or not? If you dual cultivate with me, you will be able to reach Kim Young-hoon's location in approximately 100 years. Quote. I will do it. Since it is that kind of dual cultivation, there is no reason to refuse. Good. Then follow me. From now on, let us find a suitable place to dual cultivate. Jaeon Myung-hoon and I follow Hyeon-mu as we move towards the inner core of a suitable planet and settle there. Thus begins my dual cultivation with Hyeon-mu, spanning nearly 100 years. Beneath the surface of a planet in the good sight heavenly domain. There, I am engaging in dual cultivation with Hyeon-mu. Contrary to expectations, dual cultivation with Hyeon-mu is surprisingly enjoyable. Blood trickles from my mouth. Focus. For a brief moment when my consciousness wavers, a sharp sword energy slices through my inner body. Inside my internal world that is the colorless sword enclosure, earthquakes and tsunamis rage, carving out a massive valley. All from a single strand of sword energy sweeping through my body. It is silent. Within that silence, I unravel my consciousness. The consciousness domain I unfold collides with the planet's core, producing a faint sound like raindrops. It is much like the horn of a drifting boat. The way of dual cultivation between me and Hyeon-mu is the most enjoyable dual cultivation I have ever known. Deep underground, we sit facing each other in the lotus position, drawing perfect circles with our consciousness domains. Behind Hyeon-mu's head, a faint circle takes shape, while behind mine, a brilliant and thick circle emerges. In the end, intent is the power that emerges when reflecting another by making oneself a mirror. And the circle we have drawn is nothing short of the pinnacle of intent. We are reflecting each other. Hyon Mu reflects me, and I reflect Hyon Mu. Through this mutual reflection, our minds are gradually refined beyond the infinitely connecting world of intent. This is Hyon Mu's way of dual cultivation. Tune. The planet's heartbeat resounds. Once more, I focus my mind. PSSHT. My inner world quakes once again. It is the phenomenon of being cut by my own sword energy, reflected by Hyon Mu. The interior of my body is in a rather dire state. Because of my sword energy that is constantly being reflected back at me, I am ceaselessly being cut. Regardless of whether I transcend planes or not, since it is ultimately my own, I alone have no choice but to suffer fatal wounds from my sword energy. Hyon Mu, on the other hand, seems completely unaffected, as if she has absolute control over herself. However, even though I am being wounded by myself, it is of no concern to me. I simply smile faintly and continue focusing on the dual cultivation. Do you enjoy it? Dual cultivation, it is the best. Hyon Mu gazes at me with dull and empty eyes. The hollowness that dwells within her is truly formidable. She is terrifying. I am reflected in her. But we are mirrors that infinitely reflect one another. Thus, though I see myself reflected, the Hyon Mu reflected in me is also reflected back to me, allowing me to directly perceive her essence. And the more I stare into her essence, the more my fear of her awakens. Tingle. Facing her, I am strongly reminded of the 16th cycle. I do not know why. In the 16th cycle, I was mostly with Hong Fan. But perhaps, she really is connected to Hong Fan in some way. With that thought, I calmly explore the essence of both myself and her, refining my mind. A year passes like that. Kijijijik. Through dual cultivation with her, I discover something. It is the essence of myself. I am a dragon of mist, with a head formed of the flames of glass true fire. The essence is the immortal beast candle shadow. At the same time, I realize that there is yet another essence within me. This is the essence I possess as a vestige liberation immortal. The essences I possess as a true immortal are reflected one by one. Wu Wang. Other things are reflected as well. The essences of the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag, Yohi, and my other immortal treasures. The essences of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, the flawless mantra, and the impermanent sword are also reflected. But no matter what, the wheel refuses to be reflected. Whenever it seems like it will appear, it scatters. Watching this, I somehow feel as if the wheel itself does not permit someone like me to perceive its essence. I feel unworthy. Do I at least need to reach the realm of Great Net? As I scan through my essences as an immortal, I suddenly sense something strange. This is a feeling as if I am connected to something. This is something flows into my mind. It is an image of a huge mountain, turned upside down, pulling everything towards its inverted peak. The name of that mountain is Mount Sumeru. As I reflect upon myself, I realize. So that's how it is. The character for immortal Xian is similar to that of Earth. A person Ren, the human radical who dwells in a mountain Shan, is an immortal Xian. Those who directly receive the grace of the mountain all belong to the immortal family. I think I roughly understand why those at the entering nirvana stage onward are called beings of the immortal family Xian Jia. The reason why beings at the entering nirvana stage essentially gain eternal longevity is because they receive the grace of Mount Sumeru starting from that stage. Everything in the world has a predetermined fate Ming. However, from the entering nirvana stage onward, unless one is killed, they essentially gain an eternal lifespan. The reason is that their fate becomes partially assimilated with the world known as Mount Sumeru. Since their fate is one with the world, they can extend their lifespan as they wish, living on indefinitely. These are the ones known as the immortal family Xian Jia. And among them, those who can directly perceive the true immortal realm, must be true immortals. I gather my newfound understanding and smile. Dual cultivation with Hyon Mu is truly the best. And so, another 9 years pass. 10 years have passed. What is that? Through 10 years of dual cultivation with Hyon Mu, I can feel my consciousness becoming increasingly delicate and precise. Through this refinement, I suddenly see something strange while looking at Hyon Mu. In the first year, I attained wisdom regarding myself and the immortal family. Now, in the 10th year, something else comes into view. I recognize what it is. Hyon Mu's main body. Squirm, squirm. It is emptiness. It also resembles a massive turtle. But after years of gazing into Hyeon Emu's main body, I have come to understand that it is no mere turtle. Three great ultimates. Squirm, squirm. It is a black and three great ultimates. The black and three great ultimates, composed of countless minuscule, writhing somethings ceaselessly merging together, resemble the shell of a turtle when viewed from afar. Is that Hyeon Emu's true identity? Rather than an actual turtle, it appears that the something conglomerated in the form of a black and three great ultimates merely resembles a turtle's shell from a distance, which is maybe why Yin Ghost Black Turtle is known to take the form of a turtle. No, perhaps, as an immortal beast, Yin Ghost Black Turtle really is a turtle. However, Hyeon Emu's main body seems to be more than just a simple turtle. I peer deeper into Hyeon Emu's main body, seeking to uncover her identity. How much time passes like this? After decades of dual cultivation, I finally gaze directly upon Hyeon Emu's main body. It is a snake. That snake is emptiness. Hyeon Emu's domain, the interdimensional void. Every single interdimensional void scattered across all the heavenly domains is, in truth, a snake. A three great ultimates composed by the intertwining of dozens of black snakes. That is the true identity and main body of Hyeon Mu. One of the snakes of emptiness slithers right up to my nose, flicking its tongue as I stare into it. Are you looking? Yes. What do you think? You are beautiful. Without the slightest hesitation, I voice my honest thoughts. To the eyes of mortal beings, it would be a grotesque and terrifying identity. But rather than the form, I perceive the wisdom imbued within it. Truly, beautiful. Yes, it is quite literally wisdom. Every one of those snakes is wisdom itself. The wisdoms intertwine, coiling and entangling into the form of the three great ultimates. And that three great ultimates, forming the entirety of the interdimensional void, becomes a passage of death that leads to the domain of purity. At the same time, it is a bowl. I understand what this bowl is meant to contain. That is, triple divinity, San Shi and Xing, creation, preservation, and destruction. These are the three steps I must take to reach Hyeon Mu. At the same time, they are also the properties of intent and heart essence. Single quote. I see. In the past, when I learned that Hyeon Emu's realm is a heaven immortal and earth immortal had only reached that of a great net immortal. There was a time I secretly scoffed at Hyeon Mu. For a being that is a heavenly venerable to only be at that level. But now, I finally understand. Drip. The realization moves me to tears. From the very beginning, from the moment she attained triple divinity and took the seventh step, the realms of heaven and earth immortals already became meaningless. She must have raised those realms merely as a hobby. Hyeon Mu reached the level of a heavenly venerable solely through the realm of martial arts. Lost in ecstasy, I remain fixed on Hyeon Emu's main body, unaware of the passage of time. The writhing of dozens of snakes, in each of their movements, contain the realm of heavenly martial arts Tien Wu. As I immerse myself in comprehending that high realm, a sudden enlightenment dawns upon me. Wisdom flows into my mind. Not an overwhelming, unfathomable wisdom, just a simple, humble insight. However, even that small wisdom delivers overwhelming shock to me. Northern Heavenly Venerable, True Martial Great Emperor, Hyeon Mu. Governing Realm, Great Net, Immortal, and 5 energies converging to the origin. 3 flowers gather at the summit. Pinnacle, Hyeon Mu is the god who governs the realm of martial arts. Pot. The moment I realize this, my consciousness refines itself at an incredible speed, seemingly expanding infinitely. It's when I myself have no control over this strange phenomenon. I suddenly perceive that I have connected to a strange world. Goo. Something in the shape of an inverted cone seems to appear before my eyes. My sense of depth is distorted so it fluctuates between growing larger and smaller. The surroundings are equally strange. A world where everything is in chaos. Within this world, I see a golden pung soaring through the chaos. Tss. It's when I stand there dazed. A hissing sound reaches my ears, and a black snake slithers towards me from somewhere. It comes to my side, rises up, and then, exuding darkness, transforms into the figure of Hyeon Mu. You succeeded exactly at the 100-year mark. She looks at me and asks, "Did you enjoy dual cultivation with me?" Yes, it was truly a precious experience of dual cultivation. I bow deeply to her in respect, and Hyeon Mu smiles with hollow eyes. I'm glad it was of help. Keep growing, steadily. After speaking, she points towards the golden pung flying in the distance. That is Kim Young-hoon. He has temporarily lost himself and is now striving to reclaim who he is. Wo Wang. In this world of chaos, I feel like I understand why Kim Young-hoon has lost himself. This world is strange. Even a brief loss of focus feels as though I will lose myself completely. Everything here is abnormal. Depth perception, senses, energy. This world, where exactly is this? And from Hyeon Mu's following explanation, I can't help but be stunned. The outer sea, why high, or also known as the Great Salt Sea, Shion High. Well, the simplest explanation for you would be. She grins and gestures as if introducing the world of chaos around us. The world outside Mount Sumeru. Pardon. At her words, I blankly stare at both Hyeon Mu and this vast, bizarre sea of chaos. Chapter 595, Pen 1. Kurururung. A sound as if the world is collapsing comes from somewhere far away. Startled, I look in that direction. My neck and body separate. Just when I can properly grasp what's happening, my body turns into a pile of salt and begins to scatter wildly into the chaos. Wait. As I panic, my head splits in half, and I truly feel the threat to my life. This can't go on like this. I grit my teeth and start reciting the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Kijijijik. With that, from the part of my split head where my consciousness resides, attraction force begins to arise. Kurururung. From within the chaos, the parts of my physical body that had been flung away as a pile of salt all return. However, they remain in the form of salt, and do not transform back into my body. Impermanence sword. I imbue the impermanence sword into the salt mass that is my body, and only then does my body return to its original state. That just now was. When I look at Hyeon Mu with bewildered eyes, she answers indifferently. Isn't it obvious? You almost got swallowed by chaos. This is the true world of chaos. Unlike inside the safe Mount Sumeru, where the planes of Chi, Soul, and Fate are properly divided, this is the world of true chaos antiquity Hundun Shang. I look at Hyeon Mu and ask. In this, dangerous world of chaos antiquity, just why did you bring Kim Young-hoon? Why did I bring him, you ask? Isn't it obvious? It's for training. Do not worry too much. He is currently in the process of finding himself, and with just a few measures, he will definitely return to normal. Are the measures nearly impossible by any chance? No, no one needs to sacrifice anything, just a few rounds of sparring will suffice. Only then do I feel relieved and offer my gratitude to Hyeon Mu. Thank you. You worry too much. Since you are here, and he is safe, just ignore him and take a look around the outer sea. Do not forget to maintain yourself with the mantra. Yes, thank you again for the opportunity to expand my knowledge. To think such a world exists. It is, truly vast. I set aside my worries about Kim Young-hoon and look around at this vast and boundless chaos. The perspective of Mount Sumeru in the distance seems very strange, but compared to the world of chaos, it looks infinitely small. In comparison to this world, even Mount Sumeru seems very cramped. Truly, it looks small. The world we lived in. It's when I comment on Mount Sumeru while observing this incomparably vast world. Kukik. Hyeon Mu chuckles, seemingly amused by something. Does Mount Sumeru appear small? Does this world appear large? Yes, well, it does. Whether as a heaven immortal, earth immortal, or martial artist, one can't help but feel that way due to their low realm. Come back after you've significantly raised your realm. You will find it suffocating. I will just say that Mount Sumeru is by no means small. In any case, since you are here, take a good look at Mount Sumeru. There may be things you cannot see, but it will be somewhat helpful. I follow her words and look carefully towards Mount Sumeru. Mount Sumeru is essentially intertwined with three bizarre somethings. That is, those are the planes of Chi, Soul, and Fate. And the spaces where those Chi, Soul, and Fate overlap are called the true immortal realm. I see. There are a total of 9 heavenly domains within Mount Sumeru. Earth boundary, elephant nose, horse ear, good sight, bearing tree, earth axis, twin holding, heavenly king, and sun and moon. Each heavenly domain is merely the space perceived by mortal beings. In reality, they are divided into Chi, Soul, Fate, and Immortal. 4 parts. The underworld, source river, interdimensional void, flower field, and astral realm. Isn't a heavenly domain composed of 5? Kukik. Except for the astral realm, the rest are merely pseudo-dimensions clinging to each plane. It is the same for the underworld. Only the planes of Chi, Soul, and Fate are absolute. The immortal plane does not truly exist, but it is roughly recognized for its absoluteness as it is the intersection of the three planes. She continues her explanation. Anyway, each astral realm, or heavenly domain, is composed of these four planes. And, when you combine all the planes of each heavenly domain, each plane is referred to as a heaven. They are called the 32 heavens. 32 heavens. I sense something strange in her words. Does it relate to the fact that the sun and moon heavenly domain is called the 33rd heaven? Why state the obvious? The 8 heavenly domains of Mount Sumeru are each split into 4 planes, which is why they are called the 32 heavens, and the sun and moon heavenly domain the 33rd heaven. That's strange. I speak as I look at Mount Sumeru from afar. According to Hayao Emu's words, something doesn't add up. If you include the sun and moon heavenly domain, should it not be 36 heavens? If all 9 heavenly domains are divided into the 4 planes of chi, soul, fate, and immortality, making 32 heavens, then why is the sun and moon heavenly domain alone referred to as 33rd heaven? Should it not be 36 heavens? Yes, it is a reasonable point. But because that is not so, it is named as it is. Pardon, look closely. Following Hayao Emu's fingertip, I gaze at the approximate peak of Mount Sumeru, where the sun and moon heavenly domain. And I see something strange. What is this? It is one. The other heavenly domains have the planes of chi, soul, fate, and immortal as usual. However, the sun and moon heavenly domain is peculiar. The planes of chi, soul, and fate, and the plane of true immortality, are not visible. I am filled with confusion. Hayao Emu, observing me, turns to look at the sun and moon heavenly domain and speaks. The sun and moon heavenly domain has no distinction of planes. What do you mean? I clearly sense the planes existing in the sun and moon heavenly domain during the sacred vessel stage. I also distinctly sense descending from the true immortal plane to the lower realm. Yet you are saying there are no planes. You seem to expect something by questioning me, but I cannot answer right now. Just look. It's one, is it not? Just what? Could everything I felt in the sun and moon heavenly domain be a lie? I can only stare with wide eyes at this explanation I can't comprehend. The space where there is no distinction between chi, soul, and fate is the sun and moon heavenly domain. Yet, strangely, despite being chaos, the world functions with an uncanny order. From inside, it feels like the planes of chi, soul, fate, and true immortality exist. What feels true inside, from a different dimensional perspective, feels false. Haven't you experienced something like that before? At those words, I close my mouth. The head realm's sun and moon. From inside, it looks as if the sun and moon rises and sets normally. But in truth, it is actually an optical illusion caused by the rotation of the yin and yang energy of the head realm, with the sun and moon of the head realm being fixed. So the planes I felt in the sun and moon heavenly domain were just an illusion. That's one way to think about it. The sun and moon heavenly domain appears that way due to the misunderstanding that chi, soul, and fate are divided. In reality, it is one, which means it is the optimal place for learning immortal arts and for immortal arts to be born. 1. Does anything come to mind? Well, in any case, the important point is this: the sun and moon heavenly domain is essentially the same as this outer sea. In other words, it is fundamentally no different from the world of chaos. The peak of Mount Sumeru and the outside of Mount Sumeru are essentially the same, which means, by endlessly distancing yourself from Mount Sumeru through this outer sea, you might achieve the same effect as reaching the peak of the mountain. Pardon, climbing Mount Sumeru to penetrate its vertex and distancing yourself from Mount Sumeru by swimming through this world of chaos produces the same result. Yes, it means you can escape. I sense something strange in Hayao Emu's tone and ask. Saying that we can escape feels like saying we are trapped. She remains silent at my question. After a brief silence, she suddenly brings up an unrelated topic. You Enders, it is about us. You do not belong to this world, do you? Yes, that is correct. Then where do you come from? It is a place called Earth. Originally, I thought it might be somewhere in the astral realm, but upon reflection, it seems not. Our homeland doesn't appear to exist anywhere in this world. Earth, such a common name, but certainly, from that name, I sense the feeling of another world. Hayao Emu points somewhere. It is the peak of Mount Sumeru. The head realm at that peak. Beyond that head realm, there surely lies another place. And that other place is probably the passage to the other world you came from. Quote. I let out a silent sigh. Indeed, it is something I had vaguely suspected after seeing the structure of Mount Sumeru. In the end, to return home, for us to go back to our homeland, must we pierce through the head realm. The head realm is a place the supreme deities, the heavenly venerables, and other high persons refer to as the audience chamber. Why is that, audience? She gazes at the peak of the head realm with vacant eyes and responds with an inexplicably gloomy expression. Quote. No one knows, except perhaps the underworld. Pardon, the head realm is a door. A door that leads to another world is hidden there. And that door never opens. It is not simply because of its structure or lack of power. As she continues, I feel a chill creeping in. Someone is holding the door shut from the other side. And it only opens when an ender grows into the existence known as a heavenly king and returns to the head realm. We have tried and tried again in the past. Myself, Sal Tree, Time, and several supreme deities. We have tried to open an exit through the door with our power alone. But it was not possible. Her eyes are shared in a deep darkness. For the first time in a while, I can read an emotion in the eyes of emptiness. It is despair. That is why it is called the audience chamber. Someone named it with the will to one day meet the existence holding the door shut. No one has succeeded in opening that door. Apart from the Salt Sea Supreme Deity and the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld, I mean. However, those two are of a different rank, and no one even dared to reach their level of authority. Hyeon Mu looks somewhere. It is beyond the distant sea of chaos. Sal Tree, Time, and I each tried through our own means to reach a place similar to where Underworld and Salt Sea are. But it was impossible for us. What do you mean by impossible? Quote. It is our disgrace. It is such a painful disgrace that we cut out the memory of the cause of impossibility, and sealed it after turning it into ancient force. Do not try to find out, just know that it was impossible. Quote. Understood. In any case, knowing it was impossible, we started seeking other methods. Sal Tree continued searching for a way through cooperation with Underworld. I explored the domain of purity, and Time ventured into the world of chaos. She gestures towards somewhere in the chaos. The chaos that the Salt Sea Supreme Deity wandered through quite freely, the Great Salt Sea. Time believed they could navigate this Great Salt Sea by themselves. And they tried to escape this world by sailing the outer sea. In the end, they failed. No, they succeeded. Quote. Pardon. Despite speaking of success, Hyeon Mu's face doesn't seem bright. They discovered a way out of this world. They contacted us from beyond the distant chaos, saying they found what could be considered the boundary of this world. That if we crossed that boundary, we might see hope of leaving. Finding that clue and contacting us was a recent matter. She meets my eyes. Back when they reversed the time of all of Mount Sumeru at the cost of their existence. They said they passed that clue to someone worthy of being my disciple. Someone worthy of being my disciple would inevitably be the likes of the Golden Body Heavenly Kings or the Silver Basket Heavenly Kings who end up training in martial arts. That is why I brought both you and Kim Young-hoon to this space. Quote. Quote. I do not know whether you are Golden Body or Silver Basket. Since that guy is golden, he could be Golden Body, but, frankly, the existence of you enders is chaos itself, so it can't be determined by color alone. Quote. Quote. Sal Tree boasted of a plan to open the audience chamber with Underworld, claiming that beyond the audience chamber, they will rescue Time at the boundary on the outside and bring them back. However, the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld suddenly changed their mind, turning the plan to dust, and everything became twisted. All that remains is the anger of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, who stepped on the same boat as Sal Tree and Underworld. Great Mountain, shaking over the betrayal, seeks to reach the audience chamber even if it means destroying Mount Sumeru. I come to understand the plans of the Heavenly Venerables and Supreme Deities to some extent. Of course, I never trusted the insidious Underworld from the start, so I didn't believe it. Instead, I tried to find the clue given by the Heavenly Venerable of Time. Among the two of you, the Heavenly Venerable of Time, Cheon-woon, said they surely let a clue. Sirring, she thrusts something sharp toward me. From now on, I will dismantle you. Pardon, I will dismantle everything that constitutes you, to find the clue left by Time. Chill, I grit my teeth, sensing the sincerity in Hyeon Mu's aura. Quote. So this is why you brought us here. Do not worry, you will not die, it will only hurt a little. Don't you like that kind of thing? You have no hesitation about inflicting what you consider painless, by your own standards upon others. I am fine, but I absolutely cannot allow it to happen to Young Hung Nim. Besides, there is no guarantee that you will put us back together after dismantling us, right? I can't just let it happen willingly. Quote. Can we not explain what the heavenly venerable of time gave us through words? How laughable. You think you can explain the wisdom implanted in you by the heavenly venerable with words? Do not look down on the heavenly venerable of time. Sirring, we must leave, especially I, must leave this world. The eyes of the heavenly venerable of emptiness are deeper and darker than ever before. Because we heavenly venerables, to the point of desperately seeking death, are being forced into eternity by Mount Sumeru. Therefore, even if it means dismantling you, I will obtain time's clue and leave this world. Shukik. With the ensuing dance of the heavenly venerable of the void, I feel my entire body being dismantled. Barely managing to restore my body with the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I begin to face the dance of emptiness. A golden pung senses the killing intent and flies towards us. Keeg. Yet in an instant, Kim Young-hoon turns to dust, like me, from Hyeon Mu's dance. The golden pung Kim Young-hoon restores his body and charges in. I look at the heavenly venerable of the void. Emptiness. In her eyes, an emotion, more vivid than ever can be seen. That emotion is a desire more powerful than anything else for suicide. Seeing this, I feel that the heavenly venerables somehow seem like livestock trapped in a pen. The dance she performs seems like the mournful cry of an animal confined in a pen. Keeg. Thus, in the world of chaos, we suddenly find ourselves confronting the heavenly venerable, who is crying out, trapped in a pen. Chapter 596, Pen 2. The first clash. My entire body contorts and twists as I am flung away. Kuhayak. In that brief moment, Kim Young-hoon splits in half. However, it isn't just a one-sided attack. Hyeon Mu chuckles. Her shoulder, a distinct sword mark remains there. At the same time, her ankle is grazed by a faint golden saber scar. It's lacking. Hyeon Mu gazes at us with hollow eyes and begins to dance with a smirk. Kururum. With every movement she makes, the surrounding flow gradually changes. This is the world of infinite chaos that seems to allow no rules begins to form a circle in accordance with Hyeon Mu's dance. This is dangerous. I feel it instinctively. Hyeon Mu must not be allowed to continue that dance. I rush towards Hyeon Mu with Kim Young-hoon. Is it the connection of hearts, or perhaps mere coincidence? Kim Young-hoon, despite having lost his sense of self, matches my movements to attack Hyeon Mu from both front and back. Ki. The cry of a pung is heard. Surpassing radiant Genesis form. First style. Golden wing defiles the light. Severing heaven sword form. Second form. Treading heaven. The colorless glass sword leaves my hand, becoming a flying sword like a streak of light, and Kim Young-hoon's wing turns into a golden saber, cutting into the circle drawn by Hyeon Mu. Kijik. I twist the flow, and Kim Young-hoon's saber scar completely severs the twisted flow. Tukwang. Hyeon Mu's dance stops. Shiver. However, an indescribable foreboding causes me to distance myself from Hyeon Mu. Kim Young-hoon seems to feel the same, retreating with me, or rather, before me. Shiring, shiring, an eerie sound from somewhere tears through the fabric of chaos. If this had been a sparring match for juniors, I would have just reflected you as you are. But this time, the circumstances are different. Hyeon Mu's whole body is wrapped in black bandages. And at the end of those bandages hang what appear to be tens, hundreds, thousands of weapons. Try to withstand this. This is everything I have accumulated, myriad martial weapons and arts Wanwu Wanshi. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Hyeon Mu's will seems to penetrate and resound throughout the entire world of chaos. Just facing that will alone, a powerful wisdom flows in. I will show you. True martial arts. Dance of emptiness. First dance. Fierce battle of 10,000 devils Wan Mo Rizan. Shiriririk. The countless weapons thought to be wrapped in black bandages suddenly turn into black snakes. Shrikakakong. Thousands of snakes sweep over us. This is crazy. The countless weapons each vividly form their own shapes, completely reversing the flow of chaos. As chaos tears apart, heaven and earth begin to divide. Jeong. The martial arts Hyeon Mu unfolds have so many forms that they appear formless. The world. I gaze at the world of chaos that has just been torn apart. By Hyeon Mu's single move, the world where chi, soul, and fate were intermixed becomes established. Though it may not be the normal environment that mortal beings think of, the surrounding area transforms into a space akin to just after the creation of a typical heavenly domain. Insane. It is as if she established a space using only the flow of her martial doctrine within chaos. Shiriririk. Together with Kim Young-hoon, I look at something hissing in the center of this newly created space. It is thousands of black snakes. The snakes flick their tongues, glaring at us. The moment I come to my senses, the snakes suddenly leave our perception domain and are instantly upon us. I quickly reveal the form of Candle Shadow. Transforming into the half-human, half-beast form, I overlap the wheel and the three great ultimates. Twisting history through the wheel to unleash infinite power, I begin to resist Hyeon Emu's martial doctrine. But it is useless. Damn it, I am crumbling. The illusion of innumerable weapons in the shape of snakes overwhelms me with countless martial doctrines and martial arts. My entire body is collapsing. Kim Young-hoon is the same. The golden pung and the hazy candle dragon are melting in the swamp filled with black snakes. Is this the end? It's just when I think so. More. A faint voice comes from the golden pung, whom I thought had lost its will. More. Shukwang. With that, a golden saber light sweeps away the swarm of black snakes. More. It is Kim Young-hoon. Ah, give me more. It isn't the golden pung. He, despite being disintegrated by Hyeon Mu, is returning to the form of a human. It is still not enough. He is a bird of golden light. But at the same time, he is also a dignified martial artist. He seems to be transforming from a golden bird into a human. With each and every move he makes, golden feathers seem to scatter from his arms and legs. How are you able to do that? I quietly watch Kim Young-hoon as he deflects Hyeon Emu's attacks at the forefront. How can you stand proudly against this absurd god's martial doctrine? I see something around Kim Young-hoon. The golden feathers falling from him are disintegrating into golden dust and enveloping him. In front of this incomprehensible infinite flow, how are you doing this? Then, as if reading my thoughts, Kim Young-hoon turns around. Our eyes meet. Quote. Is there not a path? Then just walk it. After throwing that brief remark, Kim Young-hoon turns back around. At the end of the path. I only hope what I desire is there. There is a path. I understand immediately. The realm Hyeon Mu has reached, and where she stands. Since someone has reached it, the path exists. So he is simply walking it. Kim Young-hoon, holding his golden saber, begins to fly. The darkness tears apart. Along with it, the bodies of the thousands of snakes that Hyeon Mu used to envelop us are torn apart. At the source of the snakes, I sense Hyeon Mu giving a slight smile. Have you taken the first step? Flash. I feel like I'm about to cry. He has reached it. A golden halo rises behind him. As I look at that halo, I gain wisdom. Triple divinity, San Xian Xing. First divinity, Di Yi Xing. Brahma nature, Fan Xing. Editor. In Hinduism, Brahma is considered to be the creator among the three supreme divinities, the Trimurti. In Buddhism, Brahma is considered to be a celestial being but not the creator, and was said to have been the one to convince the Buddha to teach the Dharma after he attained enlightenment. The first aspect of triple divinity. The nature of creation, Chuang Zhao. Kim Young-hoon moves. His saber mark begins to rise, reversing the world Hyeon Mu created within chaos. The intent. A perfect circle has appeared behind Kim Young-hoon. The realm I call Severing Heaven, and Hyeon Mu calls Udambara. Within that circle, a single light blooms, reversing the world, and creating something new. Kim Young-hoon's saber scar begins to dye the universe. Transcending light, his saber scar seems to swallow the world like mist, and in an instant, the primordial world created by Hyeon Mu changes its form. Kururururu. It becomes a world where the power of golden light flows like a waterfall. Kim Young-hoon has dyed the world Hyeon Mu created with his saber scar, establishing his own world. To that, Kim Young-hoon raises the golden saber in front of me, casting a glance in my direction. Smirk. He gives a faint smile and raises the saber to point at Hyeon Mu. In the world Kim Young-hoon has established, something black and curled begins to rotate. The martial arts of Hyeon Mu, taking the form of countless snakes, start becoming a storm. True martial arts. Dance of emptiness. The second movement, second dance. Hyeon Emu's will resonates throughout Kim Young-hoon's entire world. Blood trace of subduing devils, Fumo Shueji. Korerarik. Hyeon Emu's will injects wisdom into us. It is the wisdom of fear. Around her, thousands of weapons rotate, forming a black sphere. The next moment, a black river begins to flow in various places of the golden world Kim Young-hoon has seized. The river, originating from the black sphere, is composed of droplets that are each a gang sphere. The river made of gang spheres engulfs the entire world and begins to batter us. Kurururung. A storm starts to rage. Swaa. Rain made of gang spheres strikes against us. Being at most lumps of gang chi, they should not affect me at all. However, as I see my immortal beast true blood rumbling and bursting each time a droplet hits me, I frown. Kim Young-hoon looks up at the golden sky. Before long, the river of black water emanating from Hyeon-mu has transformed into dark clouds covering the sky, pouring down black streams from above. It seems as if the entire world is weeping black blood. The world becomes contaminated by Hyeon-mu's river. It appears as if Hyeon-mu is writing sentences in black blood. Using the clue you gave me and in order to reach the realm called Severing Heaven, I learned cultivation methods and rose to the heavenly being stage through heaven and earth dual cultivation. And, by becoming a heavenly being heaven and earth dual cultivation practitioner through cultivation methods, I came to understand that this thing called martial arts is futile. Realizing that everything is merely borrowed from heaven and earth, is how I reached Severing Heaven. Shiring, shiriring. Saber scars begin to form around Kim Young-hoon. He wields his saber at a speed even I can't perceive, merely looking as if saber scars are flickering around him. But, after reaching Severing Heaven, meeting that Hyeon-mu, and receiving training in martial arts, I came to realize. Look, Seo Eun-yun. Quote. A light like the morning sunlight bursts forth from Kim Young-hoon. But it is not light. Each and every ray is Kim Young-hoon's gang chi. Though it's merely gang chi, I have no choice but to doubt my eyes. I have no choice but to doubt. Because my entire body is torn apart by mere gang chi, and each ray of light bursts Hyeon-mu's droplets of gang sphere. Heaven and earth Tienda is the universe. I, too, am a small universe, Xiao Yu Zhou. Quote. Being born from heaven and earth does not make us separate. We too, are heaven and earth itself. It is not borrowing, it is proudly using and uniting heaven and earth within myself. That is precisely. The rays emanating from Kim Young-hoon grow thicker. The quantity of gang chi he exudes is increasing even more. Crazy. A body merely at the heaven and earth dual cultivation heavenly being stage. Merely at the realm of the lower boundary with cultivation methods, Kim Young-hoon is emitting light akin to the sun from that small body. In a body no different from dust compared to my true body, he is producing enough gang chi to destroy the world, even if it is just gang chi. Flash. Light bursts forth. At the same time, the black rivers created by Hyeon-mu all evaporate. No, they didn't evaporate. Kim Young-hoon, with an absurd level of gang chi, burst each and every gang sphere in the rivers. Kim Young-hoon's gang chi engulfs the golden world. The only one who can move in this world is Kim Young-hoon. That's when it happens. True martial arts. Dance of emptiness. Hyeon-mu's will resonates in Kim Young-hoon's world. The third movement. Chills. Kim Young-hoon erases his smile and looks forward. I will show you. The teaching I imparted while dual cultivating with the great mountain supreme deity. If I only had the energy to dig a bit deeper at that time, it would have been a single strike that could have killed them. I feel my body trembling. This is dangerous. It doesn't seem like something Kim Young-hoon, who has only obtained the first nature of triple divinity, can withstand. I, who hasn't even attained Kim Young-hoon's level of enlightenment, don't dare think I can stand before it. I'm scared. However, I confront that fear head-on and advance, dragging my trembling arms and legs forward. Piercing through the gang chi of the world Kim Young-hoon has seized, I stand beside him. Kikijik. The three great ultimates rise behind me. Neither the wheel nor anything else rises. I don't need the power of Candle Shadow or the power of a Vestige Liberation Immortal. No, having just taken the aftermath of Kim Young-hoon's strike, it doesn't seem like I can use the realms of immortal cultivation I have accumulated. What remains now is merely the strength of a second-rate expert. Even if I squeeze the three great ultimates, it would only yield the strength of a peak expert. But it doesn't matter, even that much is more than enough. Now I understand. Watching the exchange between Kim Young-hoon and Hyeon-mu, I realized. At first, it seemed like a terrifying high level of combat, but I can tell. What they are using, are all martial doctrines that I understand. I can do it too. I begin to reflect myself with intent. The history I have accumulated, the futures I will walk towards, and the present moment where I stand are all reflected in my eyes. I prophesize, and also revise. I squeeze out non-existent energy and use prophecy and revision. The prophecy and revision is applied to the myself I have accumulated. What I have accumulated will not betray me. Due to that prophecy and revision, even the peak master level strength I had drops, leaving me with only ordinary human strength. Nothingness that is devoid of existence. Within that nothingness, I take a step forward with a faint smile. Now I understand. Intent, heart essence, the power of the heart tribe. It is not nothing. All the powers that interpret the world can ultimately be called martial arts. Of course, it can only interpret and do nothing else. But perhaps, that alone is enough. Flash, all the enlightenment accumulated through the heaven tribe, earth tribe, and heart tribe interlock. They present me with three possibilities held within my will, yi, and thought, nyen. TL notes. Yi plus nyen equals yi nyen, which means intent. All intents and hearts of all phenomena are interpreted in three ways. Creation, preservation, destruction. Editor. The aforementioned Trimurti, three supreme divinities in Hinduism, is composed of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are the gods of creation, preservation, and destruction respectively. Three streams of light are infused into the three great ultimates I raise. Brahma nature, Fan Xing. Narayana nature, Na Luo Yan Xing. Mahavira nature, Da Zi Zai Xing. Triple divinity, San Xian Xing, is infused into the three great ultimates. Together with Kim Young-hoon, I gaze at the wave of countless weapons rushing toward us. Annihilation, Mie, advancement, Jin. Dance of emptiness, the third dance. The ultimate move of annihilation advancement, Mie Jin, becomes a wave of black snakes crashing down on us. With her single move, the world becomes destroyed. Kim Young-hoon and I each take a step forward. One sword, one saber extends forward and shines. The three great ultimates behind me becomes pure white and glows, while the halo behind Kim Young-hoon becomes a golden sunlight supporting him. The two rays of light merge into one, enduring within Hyeon-mu's wave. Heaven and earth collapse. An enormous roar sweeps over us and passes by. The golden world created by Hyeon-mu and overlaid by Kim Young-hoon's own establishment disappears without a trace. We have returned to the outer sea of chaos. Hung Nim. I reach out towards Kim Young-hoon with my battered body. Kim Young-hoon meets my gaze, nods, and quickly flies through the chaos to grab my shoulder. As we roughly hold onto each other, we leap towards the shape of Mount Sumeru visible in the distance. Behind us, the light of the triple divinity each of us realized blooms. How long do I focus my mind on that light of the triple divinity? At last, within the rays of light, we cross vast space-time and re-enter inside Mount Sumeru. We succeeded in surviving Hyeon-mu's move. We also fully confirmed each other's enlightenments. Now is the time to flee. Hyok, Hyok. I sprang up from my spot as if waking from a dream. It's the familiar underground of a planet. In front of me, Hyeon-mu meditates with her eyes closed, and beside me, Kim Young-hoon has appeared without my noticing. Quote. Let's go quickly before she catches up. Alright, us exiting Mount Sumeru was merely borrowing Hyeon-mu's consciousness through dual cultivation to project incarnations outside. However, her power is so immense that just the clones created from her consciousness was enough to wield the strength of our main bodies. It can be seen how powerful Hyeon-mu's power is just from that. Shwick. Kim Young-hoon swiftly beheads Hyeon-mu, who has not yet retrieved her consciousness from the outer sea, and speaks. Do you have a way to escape? If not, hold on to my clothes. Right now, I think I might be able to make it through a heavenly domain just by running. I appreciate the through, but I have something better. Jaeon Myung-hoon, golden shaking bird. It is when I call out to them. Kurururung. Red lightning swept over us, and we are instantly transported into the great desolate path. It is only after obtaining triple divinity that I realize. The good sight heavenly domain is, essentially managed by Hyeon-mu. I can vividly feel Hyeon-mu's will pervading this heavenly domain. If we stay here, we will inevitably be captured again. For now, quickly move to another heavenly domain. As long as it's not the heavenly king or sun and moon, anywhere is fine. Anywhere. The great desolate path activates, and we begin moving again via the domain of thunder and lightning. Thus, Kim Young-hoon and I reunite after thousands of years, awaken to a new realm of martial arts, and head towards a new heavenly domain. Outer Sea. There, Hyeon-mu, having transformed into a human form, recalls the recent events. Quote. I see. Time. You have already set things in motion through Young-sung. The split soul of Young-sung in Seo Eun-yun's possession, is that your answer? Do not worry, for I will let you live. Recalling the prophecy planted in Seo Un-yun by the heavenly venerable of time without anyone knowing, she smiles faintly. So, it's just a matter of waiting, is it? Hoo-hoo, there was no need for dismantling, huh? It is fortunate I did not end up ruining promising juniors. She laughs clearly, thinking of Seo Un-yun and Kim Young-hoon from just moments ago. Kim Young-hoon has completely grasped Brahma nature. He has fully taken a step forward. But Seo Un-yun, she chuckles as if finding it a bit incredulous. Crazy. Brahma nature, Narayana nature, and Mahavira nature, he comprehended it all at once. That is quite something. However, it is shallow. She recalls the light behind Kim Young-hoon and the light imbued in Seo Un-yun's three great ultimates. The three lights within Seo Un-yun's three great ultimates were very small and faint compared to the one light supporting Kim Young-hoon. It was only because there were three divinities that Seo Un-yun's brightness seemed similar. He should train in the opposite way of Kim Young-hoon. Although he has stepped into all three of triple divinity, unlike Kim Young-hoon, he hasn't gained control of even one. Hoo-hoo, I look forward to it. Regardless of what happened, having stepped into triple divinity without order all at once, if he masters them all, will the first user of triple divinity not specialized in any nature appear for the first time? Recalling her true martial arts, specialized in destruction, and Kim Young-hoon's true martial arts, specialized in creation, Hyeon-mu thinks of Seo Un-yun's three great ultimates and triple divinity. Obtaining the three great ultimates without order, is this not the first in the universe? Whether his true martial arts will not be specialized in any creation, preservation, or destruction, or if it will be specialized in everything. I am curious. Hyeon-mu envisions the future Seo Un-yun and Kim Young-hoon. Anyway, since both have stepped into triple divinity, neither should die easily. I shall wait, in the distant domain of the void, until you come to kill me. Holding hope for the two beings who might be capable of killing her, Hyeon-mu severs her own neck and commits suicide in the world of chaos. Hyeon-mu's body soon transforms into deep darkness and is reabsorbed into Mount Sumeru. Chapter 597, Pen 3. Kururung. We cross the Sea of Lightning and reach another heavenly domain. This place is. I inhale the heaven and earth spiritual energy of the heavenly domain and read the information regarding this domain. It is at that very moment. ! I feel a chill running across my entire body and scream. Golden shaking bird. Activate the great desolate path. Right now. Kugugugugu. From the distant universe, a seven-colored bird, with an unusual aura, flies towards us. Its appearance is so reminiscent of a certain immortal beast I know that I can't help but feel shocked. Glass Peacock is here. Indeed. Glass Peacock who possesses color like resplendent glass. The being that is following is undoubtedly Glass Peacock. Golden shaking bird is flustered and begins to manipulate the great desolate path again. It is then. Master. Elder. There is something wrong with the great desolate path. Jaeon Myung-hoon and I look towards where Golden shaking bird is screaming. For some reason, the great desolate path has stopped functioning. Damn it. Judging by the momentum of what's chasing us, the being coming right now is Glass Peacock's main body. It is not merely at the level of the clone in the Bearing Tree heavenly domain. I am confident I can win even against a great net immortal. But Glass Peacock is a being capable of defeating the seat holder of their immortal Tao, in other words, an immortal lord. They must be considered an immortal lord, a significantly powerful immortal lord at that. I have no confidence in winning against an immortal lord. Even though I attained triple divinity, using it consecutively right after a fierce battle with the Hyeon-mu is too much. My triple divinity seems much smaller in size than Kim Young-hoon's, and because of that, my endurance appears to be slightly lacking. At this rate, we will be violated. This being will capture us, turn us all into fools, and violate us madly. At that moment, Kim Young-hoon clicks his tongue and speaks. Well, just escaping Hyeon-mu's heavenly domain is enough, right? This should be enough. The rest, we can just run away with our feet. ! I watch Kim Young-hoon stepping out confidently and smile brightly. Ah, there was that method as well. I request you, Hung Nim. That seven-colored bird is famous throughout the three heavens great thousand worlds as a notorious rapist. We must never get caught. Yeah, I got it. I've met a few true immortals, and they all had bizarre tastes. If it's a famous rapist even among them. I understand. I go out and absorb the ring finger of Yongsu Jin containing the great desolate path into my body, then cling to Kim Young-hoon. TSTs. Having become practically akin to having no physical substance upon becoming a true immortal, it is easy to attach myself to Kim Young-hoon, who is at the heavenly being stage. As I provide him with energy and vitality, Kim Young-hoon smirks and glances once at the bird. Hey, you cosmic rapist, come try following me, if you can catch up, that is. You see, lecherous creatures like you. Koo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Kim Young-hoon kicks off into space and starts running. Will never catch me, Pete. The surrounding environment starts to gradually change. As Kim Young-hoon kicks off, stars and galaxies instantly pass by him. It looks as though clusters of galaxies are moving at ultra-high speed backwards relative to him. Koo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. Yet, despite running at a speed far surpassing light speed, the seven-colored bird calmly continues to chase us. Kim Young-hoon clicks his tongue upon seeing this. It's really fast. What on earth is that thing to be so quick? It's Glass Peacock. While attached to Kim Young-hoon, I explained to him about Glass Peacock. Kim Young-hoon, who is somewhat familiar with the knowledge of origin essences, seats of immortal Taos, and the such, is left with a dumbfounded expression when he hears that Glass Peacock violated Azure Pung for 20 million years to seize its seat. Quote. They are a great net immortal who possesses that level of power. Though they were deprived of their position of immortal lord and demoted to great net, you can practically consider them as an immortal lord. Crazy. Kim Young-hoon looks at Glass Peacock as if he has goosebumps. His pace quickens even more. It seems he is genuinely starting to feel fear towards Glass Peacock. Quote. Alright, I got it. I will do my best to escape. I'll increase the speed even more. Hang on tight. Yes. Gradually, a golden aura begins to swirl around Kim Young-hoon's steps. As Kim Young-hoon's heart essence reveals itself through his intent, he starts running in a state where the form of a golden pung overlaps with his form of a human. Pete, superclusters begin to swiftly pass by him. Yet still insufficient, the speed continues to accelerate. Shiriririk. In the superluminal speed that has far surpassed light, I feel a phenomenon as if the layers of the world are gradually turning planar and narrow. I, who can sense the dimension above the fourth dimension at the true immortal level, begin having my perception degrade to the third dimension, and then to the second dimension as the speed accelerates. The world is turning into a flat plane. The universe transforms as if into a sheet of paper, and Kim Young-hoon runs on top of the paper drawn with countless constellations and superclusters. When speed increases to this extent, does the world look like this? I marvel at the transcendent speed Kim Young-hoon displays and look back. I am greatly startled. The seven-colored bird is still chasing us. It's still coming. Damn it. Kim Young-hoon grits his teeth. Hold on tight. If it keeps chasing us, we have no choice. Golden light begins to radiate from his eyes. I will leap beyond the heavenly domain. Pete. In that state, Kim Young-hoon begins to accelerate once more. And I feel the universe, which has become planar and started to resemble a sheet of paper, gradually narrowing. If we accelerate to the extreme at this rate, the universe will eventually become a thin line. In other words, it seems it would turn into a first-dimensional level. However, reaching that level seems a bit difficult even for Kim Young-hoon as he does not achieve one dimension. The universe, having turned into a sheet of paper, only contracts to the level of a typical mortal's country. The nation-sized path stretching forward in the direction Kim Young-hoon is running extends far ahead, and in that distant place, there is a point where the background of this path changes. I instinctively realize that is the boundary of the heavenly domain. Please keep running, I will break through. I scatter glass true fire towards Jaeon Myung-hoon and Golden Shaking Bird, who cannot keep up with Kim Young-hoon's speed with consciousness and perception. Within the extremely short time, the glass true fire clings to the two true immortals and sucks their energy. Originally flames meant to absorb energy and provide enlightenment, the glass true fire is used similarly to the star-devouring technique this time. After sucking energy from the two true immortals, roughly replenishing the power lost in the battle with Hyeon Mu, I raise the wheel behind me. In the state of being attached to Kim Young-hoon's body, I somewhat reveal my true body and raise the colorless glass sword, focusing my consciousness at its tip. I will pierce through. The thrust containing the principle of Kunlun of severing mountain swordsmanship bursts forth from my hand. Amplifying power through the wheel, we charge towards the boundary of the heavenly domain along with Kim Young-hoon's speed. Here we go. Yes. His speed, my power. And the sharp thrust containing the principle of Kunlun unfolds. Jaejeong. A tremendous explosion resounds. And Kim Young-hoon and I feel as if we are caught in something sticky, along with the feeling that the boundary of the heavenly domain is stretching. This is, and I can't help but be shocked. The moment we pierce the boundary of the heavenly domain. Someone used history revision to alter the boundary's attributes. Some has given the boundary of the heavenly domain a powerful elasticity and tension, like a bowstring. No, stretch. The boundary of the heavenly domain does not break. I try to nullify the history revision through the wheel's ability to rectify causality, but it does not work. The history revision by someone pushes back the might of the wheel as if it isn't much, nullifying my authority, and I receive a tremendous shock from the backlash of the wheel being negated. Kuheo. Immediately after. Tune. The boundary of the heavenly domain, stretched due to powerful elasticity, snaps back to its original state and flings us away. The direction we are flung towards is, of course, the path we have been running along. In other words, towards the direction of the seven-colored bird chasing us. With dizziness overtaking my vision, I make an expression of despair. And no, is this how we become fools, violated for 10 million years? However, Kim Young-hoon does not despair. Nonsense. He grabs the golden saber as he is flung towards the seven-colored bird. I will not give in. Flash. Enveloped in golden light, he shouts with firm resolve, I will go back. Until then, I will absolutely not be corrupted or distracted by anything. Kururum. He becomes a flash of light. Becoming a light that seems as if it would cleave through the heavenly domain, he aims the tip of the golden blade at the seven-colored bird. Leave us be, you cosmic lecher, you lust demon. Jaejong. A golden storm seems to envelop the universe. And I open my eyes wide. The seven-colored bird, hit by Kim Young-hoon's all-out strike, doesn't bear any wounds. I detach from Kim Young-hoon's body and stand dazed with my mouth agape. Seo Eun-yun, help, together we can create the gap to escape. We even escaped before that heavenly venerable of the void. There is no reason we can't escape before a mere rapist. Come on, Seo Eun-yun, quote. Cold spiritual energy crazily seeps from my entire body. Seo Eun-yun, what are you doing? Are you feeling scared from a mere rapist? Come on, you can do it. Let us show this damn pervert that you're in my martial arts, the fruits of what we have accumulated can overcome it. Quote. Hung Nim, wiping the spiritual energy that forms like cold sweat, I smile awkwardly. The great desolate path that is within me. Inside, Golden Shaking Bird is bowing deeply, and Jaeon Myung-hoon, following Golden Shaking Bird's instructions, is bowing towards the seven-colored bird. Seo Eun-yun, why are you acting this way? Are you scared of this rapist? Quote. I'm sorry, Hung Nim. I close my eyes tightly and bow my head towards Kim Young-hoon. I was mistaken. It is not Glass Peacock. Honestly, I couldn't help it. Based on appearance alone, doesn't it look almost identical to Glass Peacock? It's to the point that I only realized its essence upon facing it up close. Thinking that the actual Glass Peacock is following us made it urgent too. But ultimately, it wasn't. The being before us is not a peacock, but a falcon composed of seven-colored light. Though, as far as falcons go, its tail feathers are extraordinarily long, giving it a feeling more akin to a phoenix, vermilion bird, or peacock. Only then does Kim Young-hoon, after examining the outline of the seven-colored bird, smile awkwardly. Quote. So it's not a rapist. Hung Nim, please stop saying. Just then, the seven-colored falcon opens its mouth. The name of this immortal is Bong Myong. I prostrate before Bong Myong, who has descended before us. Quote. I greet your majesty, the supreme deity. I am a being known as the Liberation Supreme Deity, Bong Myong. Kim Young-hoon, tactfully, also bows down on the spot, and I look up at Bong Myong while sweating cold spiritual energy. They aren't upset about being called a rapist, right? And at Bong Myong's next words, I widen my eyes in shock. Follow me. Currently, all of the Radiance 8 immortals are gathered in this immortal's earth boundary heavenly domain. Quote. Quote. You shall be executed, before we can resist in any way. Quorararik. A scroll depicting a landscape painting unfurls from Bong Myong's wing feathers. And before we can even resist, Kim Young-hoon and I find ourselves transported to a valley depicted within the landscape painting the moment we regain our senses. But what's surprising is that it doesn't end there. What? There's a small village inside that painting, and as men who look exactly like Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, and me walk out, they look at us with expressions of shock. What in the? It's when Kim Young-hoon is bewildered. Hua. 3 humans who look identical to us. And for some reason, a person who looks similar to Kim Yeon is suddenly dragged up into the sky. Flap. From where they were dragged, the projection of the seven-colored falcon appears and adjusts its size before us. I apologize for the rough treatment, given the unfortunate timing of your arrival of all times. However, with this, both this immortal and you will be somewhat free from the gaze of light. This place is a move created by this immortal to defy light. It is a fake world pre-constructed with the genetic information of you enders obtained through various methods. The versions of you from this world that were just taken will be executed in front of the light instead of the real you. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Upon hearing those words, my face hardens. Quote. We appreciate the goodwill you have bestowed upon us. However, the safety obtained through the sacrifice of others is not specifically necessary. Sacrifice. Whom do you mean? Our substitutes you just took, the humans used as replacements for us. Sacrifice. You speak strangely. Bong Myong tilts their head. They are promised bliss in the afterlife in return for serving this immortal. I have spoken specifically to the owner of the underworld, so they will all reincarnate as the dragon race or as beings of noble status even within the heaven tribe, enjoying long lifespans. So, who is being sacrificed? Still, suddenly having their current lives taken away is. How amusing. Juke. The neck of the seven-colored falcon stretches out. Its neck elongating like a snake to bring its face close to mine creates an eerie sight. In this three heavens great thousand worlds, even the lowliest and most pitiful of bugs born have a nobler and happier determined futures than you enders. Who is worrying about whom? Quote. Pardon, those who have another life need not worry. Even those in the head realm, though they repeat, have an afterlife. The only ones who should worry are those without a next life. Bong Myong's eyes approach, leaving only a palm's breadth between us. The eerie falcon with the elongated neck discloses a foreboding truth to me. What use is living a single life as kings? You are only that. Once you enjoy a fleeting moment, that is all. You, whose fates are entirely mortgaged, are to be pitied, not to pity. Kim Young-hoon asks in confusion. Mortgaged. Just what do you mean by that? Hearing that questions, Bong Myong's eyes glint a somewhat blue light as if pitying us. Currently, this immortal's heavenly domain is where the banquet of the Radiance 8 immortals and other supreme deities is being held. Once the banquet of the supreme deities concludes, all will be revealed. After finishing speaking, they fly upward with a flap. The banquet of the supreme deities shall conclude in 100 years. Until then, play the role of your scapegoats in the world created by this immortal. If you do not act according to your roles, the desecration of fate by this immortal will become null, and you will be caught by the light. Chachuch. From where Bong Myong flaps and passes by, 3 seven-colored feathers remain. The feathers swiftly fly towards us, transforming into light beams and entering our eyes in an instant. This is. As soon as the feather enters my eyes, I understand my role in this world. Archaic underworld characters appear before my vision, explaining my role. Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myong-hoon, too, are bewildered as they carefully voice the roles they have been assigned. Pyromaniac. Me. A spy. Jaeon Myong-hoon is given the role of a pyromaniac. Kim Young-hoon seems to be assigned the role of a spy. However, I am so incredulous that I cannot even bring myself to say the role I have been given. Your role is human soap merchant. You are to capture humans in this world and play the role of a madman who makes and sells soap out of them. Please capture people and make soap. Please feel pleasure while making soap. Actions not aligning with the role will increase the chances of being detected by the Radiance 8 immortals in the Earth boundary heavenly domain. Author's note. Thank you everyone for loving Regressors' Tale of Cultivation until now. Starting from next week, Soap Maker's Tale of Cultivation will begin. Thank you. 598. What kind of crazy talk is this? Although events regarding true immortals are always like this, I am amazed at the bizarre actions of Bong Myong, which surpass common sense even for ordinary true immortals. This feels like a status window. Jaeon Myong-hoon, seemingly fascinated, touches the words floating before us. Ahaha, look, Seo Eun-yun. Then, as if manipulating the words here and there, he quickly discovers how to use them. It's completely a status window. If we act diligently according to the roles we've been assigned, we can accumulate experience points, and through that, we can increase the rank of our roles. It seems that as the rank of the roles increases, we can gain special privileges concerning this world. To put it simply, it's a job change. It's difficult. Indeed, I am not familiar with this kind of thing either. Kim Young-hoon and I spend a long time searching and examining the abilities of this status window. After a while, Kim Young-hoon completely masters the status window, and I only finally grasp it much later. From what I can see, it seems we have to perform the missions the status window guides us through at least once a day to fulfill our roles. Otherwise, it says we will get caught by the light. But what is this light? Regarding that, let's ask Seo Eun-yeon. Jaeon Myung-hoon explains the status window, and I give them a brief overview of the light and the Radiance 8 Immortals. Quote. For these reasons, we must not get caught by the light and the Radiance 8 Immortals. Moreover, currently, the forces of light have put a bounty on us, Enders. So, for now, I believe it is best to move according to Bong Myung's intentions here. Oh, and as for what an Ender is, I explain more about Enders to Kim Young-hoon in detail and then speak. That's pretty much the basic knowledge. For now, we should explore a bit about this world inside a picture. Woo Wang, I grasp at the void. I can use attraction force, prophecy and revision as well. Everything is usable just as before. However, the senses of heaven, earth, heart and the consciousness domain are restricted. What measures has Bong Myung taken? The planes of Qi, Soul, and Fate are not visible. Only by focusing on one of Qi, Soul, or Fate for a long time can any of the three planes barely be faintly seen. Moreover, the consciousness domain is also restricted by powerful laws. Yet the world itself is quite soft. It's a fragile world one wouldn't think a supreme deity created. If I clench my fist once, it feels like it would just crumple and burst apart. Of course, if I did that, I'd be caught by Radiance Hall, right? I decide not to destroy the world in a single strike. And I look at my body. It's my main body. Currently, my physical body is the main body of an immortal beast. I'm only in the form of a human through transformation. I am ready to change back into a candle dragon at any moment. Jaeon Myung-hoon and Golden Shaking Bird inside Jaeon Myung-hoon are the same. Everyone has been sealed in this world with their true immortal main bodies. When Bong Myung captured us, it seems they even dragged our main bodies from the true immortal realm. Although this world breaks when force is applied, how much power can I actually exert? Wing, I draw upon my power as an immortal beast. However, as I draw upon my power beyond a certain level, an extremely ominous foreboding fills me. Whisper, whisper, whisper. The world is whispering to me that if I reveal more power beyond this point, I risk exposure to the entities outside. Is this the limit? It appears that the total amount of power one can wield within this landscape world is around the heavenly being stage to the early mid-4-axis stage. First, as you all might have felt, there seems to be a risk of being detected by the Radiance 8 Immortals if we exert power beyond the 4-axis state in this world. Therefore, it seems it would be challenging for us to leave this world solely with our strength. I will try summoning others as well. Woo Wang. With those words, Jaeon Myung-hoon brings out Golden Shaking Bird from within his body, and I release my subordinates, Hong Fan, Yohee, Yuhee, and Ham Jin from within mine. Opening and closing the internal world isn't much of an issue either. Master, where is this place? Hong Fan looks around with suspicious eyes, while Ham Jin and Yuhee bow to me. As soon as Golden Shaking Bird and Yohee emerge, they furrow their brows. Master. What on earth is this place? The world seems to be forcing a form on Golden Shaking Bird. Golden Shaking Bird will change her form for now. Parurururu. Golden Shaking Bird transforms into a hummingbird, and Yohee into a crow. And the two newly transformed immortal treasures are exuding aura only at the early 4-axis level. This seems to be the restriction applied to them by the world. I explain the current situation to them. Quote. This is the situation. For now, do any of you see the text, for example, something called a status window? However, Hong Fan and the others shake their heads. Yohee shrugs her wings and says, it seems I've been treated as rubbish rather than formally invited, so I'm only subjected to restrictions and not given such roles. However, as Master said, if I try to exert power beyond the 4-axis stage, an extremely ominous intuition overwhelms me. For now, I will transform into a bird demon beast at the 4-axis stage to assist Master. Besides that, the power restricting us seems much stronger than the power restricting the Masters. Although I'm fused with the Great Desolate Path and considered an immortal treasure, I am in reality in the realm of a true immortal. I feel I have to squeeze quite a bit of my power to just barely overcome this restriction. I nod at their words. Alright, then, everyone transform into the form you feel most comfortable in and follows us. Hong Fan, do you prefer the form of a human? Quote. No, it seems the world wants to restrict me because I have exceeded the level of power the world allows. I will transform into a smaller form like golden shaking bird and Yohi. Surururuk. Saying that, he transforms into a small, black centipede and climbs onto my shoulder. I will follow in the form of a centipede. It seems this world prefers it as well. Alright, for now, hide in my clothes and follow along. Later, I will make a pouch for you to stay in. I look at Hamjin and Yuhi. What about you two? Since bringing them from the sun and moon heavenly domain, I've been intermittently explaining the situation and infusing them with wisdom, so they seem to understand and follow the current situation well. We are only restricted by about one stage, but we are not pressured to transform into something or two. Shrink. It seems to be because our original realm is at best at the integration stage. Although it could also be because we are originally of the human race. We will follow as Master's human subordinates. Alright, go ahead then. We quickly determine our positions. Pot, just when the general situation is grasped. In front of Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kim Young-hoon, and me, the status window begins to change. The status window, composed of an array of words, assigns us daily tasks. Go to the village, settle in, and identify your role. Then prepare to act according to your assigned roles. Jaeon Myung-hoon slowly reads the status window and then lets out a hollow laugh. Quote. I'm going to go crazy. It's telling me to go to someone else's house and set off flames. Quote. Fortunately, I'm just told to draw a map of the village. Seo Eun-yun, what about you? Quote. I grit my teeth as I look at the daily task assigned to me. I feel like I am already getting a headache. Go to the village, settle in, and identify your role. Your role is human soap merchant. Please prepare to act your role. To capture people to make soap, a detailed kidnapping plan is necessary. Please devise a thorough kidnapping plan. Quote. They want me to kidnap people. Feeling a throbbing in my head, I first descend to the village with my comrades. After going to the village and gathering some basic information, we somewhat grasped an understanding of this landscape world. First, the people here call this world Liberation Peach Garden Village. Peach Garden Village, it's a kind of peach garden painting. A type of storage scroll used by cultivators when putting living creatures inside, known as the peach garden painting. This Liberation Peach Garden Village seems to essentially be a gigantic peach garden painting. Liberation Peach Garden Village consists of 4 nations on a single vast continent: Sea Nation, Square Nation, Center Nation, and Circle Nation, each situated in the east, west, south, and north of the continent, respectively. Each nation is about the size of Yangguo in the head realm, and their overall culture seems similar. Beyond the continent lies an endlessly vast sea, and it looks like if you travel far enough across the sea, you emerge again on the opposite side. It's not a spherical world. Through the words of the residents, I gained an understanding of the world. It isn't merely that the planet is round and sailing across the sea brings you to the opposite side. If you go to the eastern end, you come out at the western end, and if you go to the southern end, you emerge at the northern end. It's not a spherical world like a planet, but a flat world akin to a decaying corpse realm. However, instead of the world shield force, there's a peculiar spatial distortion that relocates entities reaching the world's edge to the opposite side. And, the residents also don't seem like normal inhabitants. What is the name of this country we are in? Do the people of this world use martial arts? Are there cultivators? What about rumors of monstrous strength and chaotic spirits, tales of demon spirits and phantoms, and of ghosts, tigers, and immortal monsters? Sitting on the wooden porch of the house set as my roles, home, I watch Yuhi interrogate the neighbor, Mr. Jang, using the soul-invoking art. Our country is in the west of the continent. Square Nation, martial artists exist. There are also pseudo-Taoists called sorcerers, though. I've heard legends of immortals parting the skies and summoning lightning. Demon spirits do exist. Understood. Forget today's events and return to your work. Sururuk, with a gesture from Yuhi, the spirit of the neighbor, Mr. Jang, slowly returns to his body. This seems to be the extent of what we can extract from this one, master. Like other worlds, cultivators seem to be hidden among the mortals. Well done. But Yuhi, didn't you feel anything while using the soul-invoking art? Pardon, what do you mean? Quote. Try bringing over the spirits of the passing dog, cat, and person for a moment. Yes, Yuhi follows my order and briefly extracts the spirits of those passing by in front of the house. Quote. I glance at the spirits and let out a silent sigh. I see. Looking at the souls, I feel an inexplicable chill. I was wondering why each and every one felt familiar. They carry the scent of the flames of the underworld 10 kings. These beings, none of them are living people. All the residents of this world are deceased. They are beings dragged out from the depths of the underworld, temporarily escaping from the underworld flames. Each and every one is a sinner who escaped from hell. Did they momentarily pull out the vile souls who committed atrocious sins in their lifetime and were suffering in the flames of hell to fill their world as supporting characters? Upon realizing this, I feel two opposing emotions. One is a flimsy defense mechanism that slightly alleviates the guilt of performing a mad role like human soap merchant. The other is a feeling of desolation. This world is not free even in death. Only sinners have been dragged here. But doesn't being pulled into the realm of the living even after death mean that, for a true immortal that has friendship with the underworld, it is possible to drag out either sinners or noble spirits from the afterlife, torturing them for eternity or manipulating them like puppets at will? Both life and death are at the whims of true immortals. Throb. For some reason, it feels like the sword scar left on my shoulder by the sword spear Heavenly Lord is throbbing a bit. Bong Myong seems to be a being capable of discerning good and evil, but what about other beings? Is the fate decreed by the heavens truly only evil? I weigh between the way of light and the way of salt that Young I told me before, pondering over which one is truly right. Perhaps, the way of light may not be so bad after all. For some reason, the thought that the way of light might be right does not leave my mind. A chaotic space where everything is mixed together. There, 8 giant gods of light appear and take their positions. The representative of Radiance Hall, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord, and the executor, the Rain Dew Heavenly Lord, join forces to create 8 thrones of light and the symbol of the black snake biting its tail in front of them. Upon those thrones, the other 8 immortals take their seats. The Flower Plant, Great Sun, Torch Candle, Pearl Jade, and Great Sea Heavenly Lords are each communicating with the dimensions of their respective domains in real time, continuing to tend to various tasks even from their seats. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord is looking and continuously whispering to a hazy, misty something made from someone's vestige. They are ceaselessly infusing wisdom that symbolizes the way of light. Only the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord knows why they are doing such a thing. And, beginning with these Radiance 8 immortals, various colossal entities reveal their wills in that place. Amidst the chaos, several powerful symbols begin to appear, each engaging in conversation with one another in their respective languages. There are a total of 8 symbols gathered. Black snake biting its tail. Transparent seed. Bird trapped in a cage. Spear of lightning. Black. Sun. Taiji in the shape of a fetus. Mountain exuding darkness. 6 interconnected stars. The wills of the 8 Imperial Kings Di Wang marks their presence in this space. The Imperial King's banquet is about to begin. Chapter 599, Pen 5. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord surveys the 8 symbols and then turns towards the 2 symbols in the corner. The symbols are all enveloped in powerful light. However, the symbols of mountain exuding darkness and 6 interconnected stars glow dimly. In the space of chaos where the symbol of black snake biting its tail presides, the Radiance 8 immortals each occupy seats, creating a throne of light to sit on. The first seat of the Radiance 8 immortals, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord, looks at the gathered symbols and speaks. Even in these turbulent times, to think so many Imperial Kings have attended the banquet. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord, seemingly satisfied, looks down at the faces of the symbols as if they are the master of this place, and at those who have descended on behalf of each supreme deity and heavenly venerable. In front of the symbol of transparent seed, white-winged heavenly Pegasus sits on a throne blooming with countless flowers. At the location marked by the symbol of bird trapped in a cage, the owner of the Earth Boundary Heavenly Domain and the host providing the banquet venue, the Liberation Supreme Deity, Bong Myong, is seated. The giant falcon of light, as if about to swallow the universe, sits in a half-human, half-beast form on a 7-colored throne, supporting its face on one hand and slowly gazing around the surroundings. Enveloped in the light of 7 colors, the detailed expression and gaze cannot be discerned, but Bong Myong's face points towards the something in the sword spear Heavenly Lord's hand and stops there. At the symbol of Spear of Lightning, a faceless white-haired woman sits in flowered shoes on a throne made of lightning. At the symbol of Black Sun, there is a pitch-black throne that seems to suck in light, where a massive black tiger, whose body is composed of the universe's darkness, lies covering the entire throne, licking its body. It seems indifferent to other beings, focusing only on instinct as ordinary tigers would. In front of the symbol of Taiji in the shape of a fetus, there is a throne of chaos. A hazy figure faintly appears on this throne of chaos, seemingly wearing a black robe. Having looked around to this point, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord displays a slightly uncomfortable expression as they glance at the remaining two symbols. Is the Master of the Distinguished One still unaccounted for? I apologize. The symbol of 6 interconnected stars is very dim, as if it might extinguish at any moment. And standing in front of it is Young Sung. In their transformation form, Young Sung bows towards the Radiance 8 Immortals, their expression hardening. If it is your master, wandering around the outer sea may be difficult, but returning to Mount Sumeru should surely be easy. However, seeing as they have not returned, is it because you have failed to faithfully persuade your master? I have nothing to say. It is always the same words. The Heavenly Venerable of Time, the true ultimate eternal life Great Emperor, is an essential being for Mount Sumeru. Do you even know how many errors have arisen across Mount Sumeru due to their absence? Find a solution. Why are you just stretching out your legs and waiting for your master? It is when the Great Forest Heavenly Lord continues to press Young Sung. Bong Myong, appearing slightly uncomfortable, shifts slightly. Please stop there, oh Radiance. It makes me a bit uncomfortable to see Young Sung continuously. Reprimanded. My apologies, Liberation. That was not my intention. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord gives a cursory apology to Bong Myong, the creator of Young Sung, and then glares once more at Young Sung. I expect you to find a way to contact your master and make them return. Understood. Having finished speaking, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord finally glares at the symbol of mountain exuding darkness. Are you ridiculing us to the end, Great Mountain? Where the Great Forest Heavenly Lord's gaze lands. There stands a beautiful, expressionless woman in a dark red blood robe. She does not move an inch from her spot. It is Oh Hai Seo. You make an ender your disciple, feed them the corpse mountain blood sea, and send them to this place. Just how much must you mock Radiance Hall to be satisfied? Ra Qian, Zhejiang. As the Great Forest Heavenly Lord waves their hand, an enormous beam of light pours down towards Oh Hai Seo. However, the light merely passes through her in vain. She does not move even as much as a speck of dust. It is as if she is nailed to that spot. Seeing this, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord trembles with anger. So this time, you send not even the tiniest bit of energy, but just a pure illusion. How utterly displeasing. Kururung. As they wave their hand again, the light converges on her illusion, trying to erase it. Yet, despite the Great Forest Heavenly Lord's efforts, the illusion remains unaffected and stays in place. Upon witnessing this, Great Forest shakes with even greater fury. Ha! Did you put some special trick into this illusion meant to mock us? So you invest effort into ridicule. Just wait. Your disciple will definitely be captured someday. Ra Qian. Watching the Great Forest Heavenly Lord seething in anger, the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord raises a finger to their lips. Seeing this, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord seems to tremble slightly before stroking their mask. SSAK. Simultaneously, as if the previous display of anger was a lie. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord surveys the surroundings in a monotonous voice like a doll. As the Great Mountain Supreme Deity appears to be engaged in strange actions, we shall ignore it and proceed with the banquet. I thank all the many governing immortals who have gathered for the banquet this time as well. There is no particular reaction among the Supreme Deities and Heavenly Venerables. Only the entity in the form of a black tiger continues to gnaw at the pitch-black throne it sits upon like a beast, while the white-haired woman representing the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity, Zhengli, merely scoffs. And since the Flower Monarch and the Flower Overseer have shown their faces, you may leave whenever you wish. The same goes for you, Young Sung. White-winged Heavenly Pegasus scoffs at those words. Do you think the Heavenly Venerable and I are dogs that come and go at your command? Do not order us around. We will leave if we want to. With the Heavenly Venerable's attendance, this should be called a governing immortal banquet rather than a Supreme Deity banquet. Though somewhat provocative, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord accepts as if unconcerned. How unusual. The Heavenly Venerables will not gain much from this. Do as you like. HMPH, it's amusing how you unleash anger on Young Sung, who has no backing, while maintaining a courteous attitude towards me, who does. Just get on with it. White-winged Heavenly Pegasus, seemingly displeased, crosses their arms and leans back on the floral throne. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord shows little reaction and utters a few customary words. I would like to thank the Liberation Supreme Deity for providing this venue today to hold the governing immortal banquet. This banquet also serves as a celebration of the Liberation Supreme Deity's enthronement, which occurred several tens of thousands of years ago. I am overwhelmed. It still feels unbelievable that a mere distant bloodline of the ignorant one like myself can enjoy such luxury. Enjoy it, liberation. Surpassing your vulgar ancestor and being enthroned as a supreme deity is the highest of honors, is it not? Thank you for your praise. Then once again, I thank everyone for gathering at this time's supreme deity, no. Since the Sal Tree Heavenly Venerable has joined us, this time's governing immortal banquet. The great forest Heavenly Lord expresses gratitude to the governing immortals once more, but only receives a cold response in return. Zhengli speaks with disdain. How laughable, forcibly gathering everyone to flaunt your power every now and then, and you speak of gratitude. Haha, it seems the heavenly punishment supporting envoy Tian Fa Feng Yang Shi Jie has some dissatisfaction. However, I know that once the banquet begins, you will all enjoy yourselves as usual. I merely hope that you enjoy it this time as well. For this banquet, in addition to the delicacies of the mountains and seas provided by our Radiance Hall, at the end of the banquet, the Liberation Supreme Deity, who has provided this venue, has also said they will offer a very special treat. Perhaps the Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity will be thrilled and rush in. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord glances at the black tiger gnawing on the pitch-black throne out of hunger, and then continues speaking to Bong Miang. If what you hinted before the banquet is true, you are indeed a true sibling to our Radiance Hall. Our Radiance Hall will stand as a sturdy fence for the distinguished one instead of the underworld. Thank you for your words. I hope the relationship with Radiance Hall deepens, and that the Ender situation resolves with their complete annihilation of those who have stepped into true immortality. Bong Miang's words embed themselves into the universe as a prophecy. A scene of the entities called Enders being eventually captured by Radiance Hall flickers faintly across the entirety of Mount Sumeru and then vanishes. 7 of the Radiance 8 immortals show very satisfied reactions upon seeing this. Now then, the introduction was lengthy. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord chuckles and extends a hand. At their gesture, countless innate entering nirvana true persons, who lack reason, appear in the void and begin to bring something. From now on, I declare the start of the governing immortal assembly Yu Xian Wei. The banquet of great divine spirits begins. The innate entering nirvana true persons start to revolve around the space of chaos, using their bodies as drums and pippas to create a bizarre melody. Amid this cosmic melody, the chaotic space transforms according to the will of the Radiance 8 immortals. Dust clouds and ice masses spin within the chaos, forming a round table for the supreme deities. Young Sung, observing this scene, bows slightly to the Radiance 8 immortals as if feeling uncomfortable, and then bows once more towards the symbol of the Sal Tree Heavenly Venerable. White-winged Heavenly Pegasus also bows towards Young Sung, and Young Sung vanishes from the spot. Then, the entering nirvana true persons start placing items fitting for the banquet upon the round table. The mountain and sea delicacies Shanhai Zhenwei prepared this time are very special. They have been extracted for only about 500,000 years since the vast cold incident. Kuguguging. They are literally mountains and seas. Mountains and seas are laid upon the round table. Composed of mountains, seas, and various strange worlds, they appear to be a literal landscape seen when observed up close. Yet from a distance, something seems different. These strange worlds somehow take on shapes akin to human heads, beast limbs, and even intestines. These are the fresh ancient forces extracted from the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain by the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord laughs, gesturing to the round table if presenting precious delicacies. Then, please, eat your fill. With that, the meal of the Supreme Deities begins. Jajauk. The masks of the Radiance 8 immortals split open where their mouths should be. The 8 immortals reach out their hands to the round table and start picking up the mountain and sea delicacies to eat. Wadududuk, chomp, chomp. The Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord stuffs a world resembling a child's skull into their mouth, chewing. The naming Supreme Deity Hyeon Rang picks up and eats an organ from the table with a hazy hand. The Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity Hyeon Rule undergoes a change in demeanor as soon as the banquet begins. In the form of a black tiger, they exude majesty befitting a supreme deity, adorned in a pitch-black Myangwan and dragon robe. Yet, as soon as they touch what's on the table, countless sharp mouths sprout from their entire body, voraciously gnawing and swallowing the food. Waduduk, Jjeek. Kadududuk. The heavenly punishment supreme deity Dugon possesses Zhengli. Zhengli's form changes. From a white-haired woman, she transforms into a massive something made entirely of lightning, and starts devouring the food on the round table. Woodoodook, quadoodook, choo-choo-choo-choo-choo. Consuming food resembling a woman's arms and legs, Dugon releases lightning into the surroundings as if satisfied. Heavenly tribulations capable of destroying galaxies fall around. White-winged heavenly Pegasus seems displeased but picks up an eyeball the size of their fist and puts it in their mouth. Coodoo-doo-dook. As they chew and burst the eyeball, tiny somethings within the eyeball scream and are absorbed into white-winged heavenly Pegasus's body. With each movement of their jaw, the world within the food collapses as heaven and earth are overturned. Shururuak. The somethings absorbed into the body of white-winged heavenly Pegasus are drawn into the symbol of transparent seed beyond their throne. And, the Liberation Supreme Deity Bong Meong picks up someone's hand that is missing a ring finger from among the dishes. They briefly glance at the side of the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity, then back at the Radiance 8 Immortals. The Great Forest Heavenly Lord looks at Bong Meong and casts a warm, gentle light upon them. Please, eat. Bong Meong gazes at the food in their hand. Food, mountain and sea delicacies, or, ancient force Guli, the Supreme Deity Great Banquet, Shangdi Dian Wei. Known as the Supreme Deity Assembly, or when conducted with the attendance of a heavenly venerable like this time, referred to as the Governing Immortal Assembly, is a celebratory feast for imperial kings. The purpose of this Governing Immortal Assembly is simple. The imperial kings who rule the world are half forced by Radiance Hall to gather and consume the ancient forces extracted from the head realm. However, though softened by the term ancient force, what ultimately lies upon the round table are the corpses of true immortals. In essence, the true meaning of the Governing Immortal Assembly is for the Supreme Deities to officially gather and feast upon true immortals. It is as the Great Forest Heavenly Lord says. Though some, like Zhengli, feel displeased about being forced to gather, once they start eating the mountain and sea delicacies of the Radiance 8 Immortals, they feel extreme satisfaction and no one complains. Bong Meong ponders. Since being enthroned as a Supreme Deity, how many beings have they devoured? Though they have yet to properly devour a true immortal, they will be devouring those who advance to true immortality as countless eons pass. In the realm of Vestige Liberation Immortal, the Radiant Supreme Deity devours Vestige Liberation Immortals. In the realm of Upper Immortal, the Great Mountain Supreme Deity devours Upper Immortals. They, too, will devour the true immortals, or cultivators, of the realm they oversee. Have they not already consumed a considerable number of entering Nirvana true persons? Wooduk. Unable to withstand the gaze of the Radiance 8 Immortals upon them. Unable to bear the light of the black snake biting its tail behind them. They finally bite into the hand missing a ring finger. Waduduk. The world that Bong Meong puts into their mouth is truly delicious. The act of not absorbing by understanding, but digesting and dissolving the power source. The act of not making the ancient force one's own, but converting it solely to one's strength and annihilating it. The act of passing down one's throat the hidden histories, the achievements of once living and breathing true immortals. The act of getting rid of hidden wisdom with their own hands before Radiance Hall. Bong Meong deeply despises this act. Yet, regardless of their will, they find themselves gluttonously shoving the food on the round table down their mouth like the other supreme deities. Radiance Hall has repeated this act for as long as the history of the Imperial Venerable. A repeated history ultimately becomes strength. Thus, there are almost no supreme deities who can refuse this act. No one even thinks to refuse in the first place. From the beginning, the other two heavenly venerables besides Underworld and Void have all risen to heavenly venerable through such means, and the heavenly venerable of the Void rose using even more chilling methods. In the end, continuously devouring true immortals is akin to the orthodox path to becoming a heavenly venerable. The current heavenly venerables are practically performing what they now do endlessly in real time. However, Bong Meong recalls the two beings who have escaped such banquets of Radiance Hall. Salt Sea, GWAKM, and the Imperial Venerable. Though this may be just a guess, perhaps you too, Cheon Woon, wagered your existence to escape the bridle of heavenly venerables. Though the Great Mountain Supreme Deity's escape is relatively recent, they nonetheless broke free. The heavenly venerable of time, having distanced themselves from Mount Sumeru, likely somewhat weakened their continuous erosion of true immortals as well. Of course, the heavenly venerable of time would not be entirely free as they are a heavenly venerable, but they would have escaped considerably. However, Bong Meong, greedily stuffing their mouth with the food from the round table, feels that they cannot escape this act. It is a terrifying pleasure that none in the entire three heavens great thousand worlds could offer. They ponder while they are engulfed in pleasure. Even they, who reached supreme deity, seem not much different from a pig or dog ravenously consuming the feed scattered by the radiant supreme deity. You knew this and distrusted us because of it, didn't you? Yang Su Jin, what kind of imperial kings are you? What kind of supreme deities are you? What kind of gods are you? Are you not just livestock feeding on the fodder thrown by light? How can beings like you, who are the same as me, be gods or kings? Remembering Yang Su Jin's anguished cry, Bong Miang thinks that they are like beasts. They remember the words of the great forest heavenly lord, that Radiance Hall would be their fence. Yet for some reason, Bong Miang finds the words laughable. It is not a fence. It is a pen. A pen that confines livestock. Wadoo-doo-dook, waduk, gia-doo-doo-doo-dook, chomp chomp chomp, ooduk, ooduk. Thus, Bong Miang, like the other beasts trapped in the pen, diligently eats and digests the fragments and wisdom dissolved from the head realm. Thinking that if they continue to eat like this, they might become plump and fat. They ceaselessly stuff mountain and sea delicacies into their mouth. Chapter 600. Bird Trapped in a Cage 1. Hua, I shake my head. Now is not the time to be worrying about the way of light or the way of salt. Right now, I need to act my part so that I don't get caught by the light. I look at the souls of those sinners, who are living out their ordinary daily lives. Quote. Damn it. Yuhi promptly returns the souls to their original owners. Hearing my explanation, he looks slightly surprised. Then what do you intend to do, master? Since they are the souls of sinners, are you thinking of making them into soap without concern? Quote. No, I reply with a hardened expression. That's not it. In that case, in the end, it's about interpretation. Everything depends on interpretation. What I realized in my duel with Hyeon Mu is not simply how to swing the sword better or how to kill people more effectively. Martial arts is interpretation. Therefore, a martial artist is someone who relentlessly pushes forward with their own interpretation. How much soap could the owner of Liberation have possibly made? What do they even know about soap? No matter how much of a supreme deity they are, their mind is stuck in the medieval ages because of fate. I rummage through the house of Seo Eun-yun of this world and pull out ashes from the furnace. How dare they lecture me about soap and bath products? Our company's soap has always boasted the highest quality. Gal, I let out a roar toward the daily quest written in the status window. Since this world is so soft, just exerting a little bit of will is enough to alter something as trivial as the status window. The first life. In other words, during the zeroth cycle before my regression, there were always those like Bong Miang who had foolish thoughts. Some stole my soap-making methods, trying to make soap with various oils, and there were even those who killed people to make soap from human fat. Every single one of them failed. The most important ingredients in soap making are lye, aromatic herbs, and oil. And oil is typically derived from either animals or vegetables. How well fed do you think people of this era are? How many of them have enough fat or oil clinging to their guts? They are all so scrawny that even if you wring them dry, you wouldn't get a drop of usable oil. The ones who actually have enough fat to produce oil are usually figures of power, great tycoons, or martial artists who trained in unique techniques or cultivators. And those people tend to be on the buyer side of the soap market. You can't just kidnap them and turn them into soap. Naturally, only a minuscule amount of human soap can ever actually be made. Unless you commit mass murder on the level of that mustached lunatic who started World War II on Earth, who supposedly manufactured human soap and human buttons. Human soap isn't something you can just make so easily. Heavenly craftsman or whatever, supreme deity or whatever, do not look down on Earth's soap. You may have built serving command palace, but you never even developed soap. I alter the daily mission with my will. But anything beyond this would be risky. Using humans as materials, making and selling soap, madman. These major premises must exist. Even if you plunder others and squeeze them dry, you still can't easily make human soap. Do not force such foolish methods on me. Even if I make human soap, I will make it my way. Master. Yuhi stares at me, dumbfounded by the roar I let out. Kukwik. I cut open my stomach. From within me, various heaven and earth spiritual energy and glass true fire seem to flare forth before substances combine, transforming into oil perfect for making soap. I pour the oil into a pot, mix it with lye, and swiftly proceed with the soap-making process. And before long, the soap, made using the oil extracted from my own body, is completed in an instant. A subtle scent of glass true fire lingers, a product of exceptionally high quality. Pot. The moment I finish crafting the soap using my own body, the daily mission I modified begins to shine brightly, transforming into something called experience points before being absorbed into me. Yuhi, Hamjin, listen up. Yes, to me, soap is pain. An unerasable pain, stained with the regret of the zeroth cycle. In the language of Earth, it is something called trauma. And Bong Myong provoked that trauma in the strongest possible way by associating it with human soap, something I despise more than anything. The reason I pour out this near-maniacal passion for soap is for one reason alone. To face head-on the wounds Bong Myong has torn open in my heart. This, too, is a repentant enlightenment towards myself. Confronting the regrets of my first life, I resolve that at least in this world, I will stand face to face and redeem myself against those past wounds, with that past suffering and humiliation. If I could just carve away only myself to make human soap, that would be great, but it doesn't seem that this world wants that. It truly wants me to capture others and make soap from their fat. It wants me to become that kind of madman. I grit my teeth. But I won't just grab anyone and turn them into human soap. No matter if they are the deceased with the souls of sinners, at the very least, they are still living their own lives. So, in order to not recklessly squeeze oil from them and risk their deaths, I will only extract oil from those who can be drained to make soap. Is it perhaps because they meet my wild, glinting eyes, or because they are bewildered by this absurd resolve? Hamjin and Yuhi seem taken aback for a moment before nodding. From now on, find the pigs. Find the pigs who have gorged themselves on mountain and sea delicacies as if devouring animal feed and have grown plump and fat. Wealthy tycoons are fine, powerful men are fine. But the best would be fat cultivators. Find them and we will make soap. Hamjin and Yuhi are flustered. But soon, their eyes regain certainty, and they smile. That smile is the smile of relief. The relief of followers seeing their master walking the right path. Seeing that smile, I feel that even if I drown in madness while overcoming this wound, as long as I remember that smile, I will be able to find my way back to sanity. And so, from that day forward, my soap crusade begins. Master, I have kidnapped him, the famous man of power, Pyongjun. Teacher, I have brought one as well. A chi-refining third-star cultivator, Seong-il. Well done, powerful figures of the mundane world. Are cultivators of the mundane world who have grown accustomed to worldly power, wealth, and fame. I bind them upside down to the pillars in the basement of my home, their eyes and mouths sealed shut. Yohi, it's your turn. Yes, master. Yohi, in the form of a small crow, opens her mouth and breathes out flames. It is glass true fire. Warurururuk, kki, yup. Since Yohi has been refined into my immortal treasure, she naturally has access to my authority, and this glass true fire is one such borrowed power. Reflect upon your lives and repentantly enlightenment. Have you truly lived righteously? This glass true fire is different from ordinary glass true fire. It is a glass true fire that maximizes the authority of retribution from the impermanent sword. Because of this, the inherent pain of glass true fire is drastically reduced, while instead, the function of retribution, the principle of receiving as much as one has given, is amplified to the extreme. If the original glass true fire simply inflicts pain to grant repentant enlightenment and realizations, this glass true fire compels one to repentantly enlighten upon their own life. And if, within that repentant enlightenment, they realize they have deceived their own conscience many times over, it delivers unbearable suffering as retribution. KKI. One cultivator and one figure of power groan in agony as their fat is extracted and their bodies dry out, eventually withering like dried-up corpses before passing out. The moment they faint, the glass true fire extinguishes. They must have deceived themselves quite a bit. I click my tongue and release the two, their life force nearly drained away. Send them back home. Their fat is all squeezed out, but their minds are so weakened they won't live much longer. Let them have their funerals at home. Not everyone ends up as a dried-up husk like this. If they have lived without straying too far from the righteous path. If they have done some wrong but nothing too severe or excessive. If they have not gleefully committed acts that would earn them the deep hatred of others. If they have simply lived ordinary lives without committing any great sins. Then the glass true fire, even by mortal standards rather than my own, inflicts only minor pain. At the same time, their excess fat would be naturally expelled, freeing them from the illnesses that come with it, and through the glass true fire, they gain stronger mental fortitude, allowing them to live their lives with greater effort. Next, yes, Yuhi takes the two withered bodies back to their homes, and Hamjin brings in the next ones. Crut. Oh, you two have lived fairly upright in your own way. These ones merely have their excess fat naturally expelled and experience only slight pain. There are no major issues. Rather, their bodies appear sturdier and healthier. For glass true fire to grant blessings of its own accord, that must mean they have done a considerable amount of good deeds. Glass true fire is influenced by the power of retribution from the impermanent sword. Thus, those who have caused countless people to shed tears of blood suffer pain akin to shedding tears of blood themselves. And those who have brought countless people joyous laughter receive equivalent blessings. These ones have received blessings proportional to the good they have done. Excellent, never forget that hard and live by it. Next, yes, like this, I capture daily dozens of wealthy tycoons, figures of power, and cultivators from Square Nation who have the most fat, extracting it from them. As a result, before I know it, a considerable amount of human soap has accumulated in my basement. Now then, Ham Jin, Yoo-hee. Let's sell these together. Through Kim Young-hoon, who works as a spy between Square Nation and C Nation, and Jaeon Myung-hoon, infamous as a pyromaniac, I begin searching for buyers of human soap. Kim Young-hoon, who had once been a director at a mid-sized company, swiftly secures sales channels and smuggles the human soap into C Nation, the country designated as his behind-the-scenes support. The figures of power from C Nation become desperate to purchase these rare and exotic toiletries made from the flesh of Square Nation's authorities, and I write the names of the people who had become the raw materials for my soap and sell them. Human soap sells like wildfire, and before long, I start gaining fame as the human soap merchant, Seo Eun-yun. Wo Wang. The status window provides me with something called experience points, and as they accumulate, I begin to feel as if the world's veil is growing thicker. As long as I act according to my role, the light cannot perceive me. That truth brings me considerable relief. With that relief, I continue confronting the wounds I have carried from my first life. Like so, 10 years pass. Keying, flash. Having captured and processed so many figures of authority from Square Nation, I eventually expanded to capturing powerful figures and cultivators from other nations as well to turn them into soap. At some point, as my experience accumulated, I suddenly realized that I have reached a peculiar threshold. It is something that lacks nothing to be called authority. At the same time, it is also a privilege that allows modifications to the world. Now, I can instantly turn into soap anything as much as the area my hands can touch. No longer do I need to go through the troublesome process of extracting fat using glass true fire. Excited by this truth, I capture even more people. I hear that Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon have each acquired their own authorities as well. Jaeon Myung-hoon can produce fire from both hands, and Kim Young-hoon has obtained an authority called voice transmission. It is an ability similar to how martial artists use heart language to communicate, yet instead of relying on internal energy or spells, he can transmit his voice purely through his will. It is a law of this world distinct from the heart tribe's heart language. Of course, compared to our original powers, these authorities are considerably shallow. However, these authorities hide us from the light, and the more we use them, the more comfort and security we feel, driving us to continue acting in accordance with our roles. Another 10 years pass. Year 20. My soap ability has grown even stronger. Now, I am no longer limited to just the area my hand can touch. I can turn anything before me into soap as much as I will it. The same goes for Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon. Compared to our original power, these abilities are laughable, but we continue training our authorities and fulfilling our roles with enjoyment. After all, there are still 80 years left before we can escape from the eyes of the Radiance 8 immortals. There is no rush. Another 10 years pass. Year 30. Kudududuk. Now, I can manipulate the soap I create. I can shape the soap into whatever form I desire, and I can even use it to launch attacks on par with those of a martial artist. And at this point, I can tell that my sense of comfort has significantly grown. It feels like we're almost there. An eerie belief takes root that when authority and experience points reach a certain threshold, this comfort will completely envelop us, and the role of this world will fully protect us. Single quote. It should be true, right? At times, I feel a sense of doubt, but I continue my training without stopping. After all, my duty is to fulfill my role as the human soap merchant. Only then can I remain safe from the light. Year 50. Now, I can be said to have grasped powerful soap spells. Not only can I turn people into soap by touching them, but I can also wield the soap I control like a raging storm. It feels almost godlike. The comfort that grew as I trained the authority of soap at some point reached its peak. And from that moment on, I began to feel not just comfort, but a sense of belonging to this world. Of course, whenever I have time, I constantly reflect upon myself through glass true fire and engage in repentant enlightenment. At the same time, I relentlessly push forward with my interpretation, constantly fighting against the status window's interpretation. The status window still urges me to capture anyone and turn them into soap, but I continue pushing forward with my interpretation to the end, enforcing my will. At least this will alone. I can never give it up. Of course, holding on to this will makes me feel as if the sense of belonging this world has granted me might slip away. But it doesn't matter, because this is what I have accumulated. Thus, I continue making soap and carrying on my life of repentant enlightenment. Year 70. Hey, Seo Eun-yun, I really don't get why you're refusing. Why are you rejecting the idea of raiding that village? I look at Jaeon Myung-hoon and reply. What kind of insane nonsense are you spouting? Setting fire to uninhabited mountains or the hideouts of bandits, or even burning down the houses of corrupt officials, those are acceptable. But that village has nothing to do with anything. Jaeon Myung-hoon clicks his tongue and speaks. Look here, Seo Eun-yun. Why are you being like this? We burned down those officials' houses because they were rich, and we wanted to loot their wealth. We burned down those bandit hideouts because we didn't like those bastards. The only reason there haven't been any innocent casualties is because, for the past 70 years we were focusing on properly mastering this power, no. What, have you forgotten, Seo Eun-yun? You, Kim Young-hoon, and I. The oath we made under the peach tree. To throw this world into chaos. To bring suffering into this world. To make this world groan in pain and disorder. He grits his teeth. 70 years ago, right after we obtained our authority, we made that vow. Young-hoon hung him would become the storm that topples nations. I would become the flame that burns the world. And you would become the monster that turns people into soap. Young-hoon hung Nim. Is this true? Yes, Eun-yun. Kim Young-hoon also looks at me as if something is strange. You have been acting weird lately. Just what is going on? Have you forgotten our oath? Only then do I finally realize that something is wrong. It's because no matter how hard I try to remember, I have no recollection of such a thing. No, it feels like I'm on the verge of remembering something. Maybe it's something I simply forgot. But no matter what, something about this is undeniably strange. Jaeon Myung-hoon, Young-hoon hung Nim. I speak with a sunken expression. Something is wrong. Don't you all think so? Why are we even taking this insignificant pretend play so sincerely? What are you even talking about? Do you even realize how precious this power is? Are you trying to belittle the years we've spent? Even if it's you, I won't forgive that. Seo Eun-yun, Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon charge at me in fury. As if they cannot tolerate any insult toward this power. The result is decided, quickly. Warurururuk. What is that, Seo Eun-yun? Why do you have another power besides soap? It's glass true fire. Do you not remember? My face hardens. You're talking nonsense. Each person only has one ability. Why do you have two? No, that's obviously. I see. Have you been possessed by an evil god? That's right, Seo Eun-yun. I heard that's what happens when an evil god from the outside takes hold of you. Do you perhaps have any strange memories or foreign knowledge in your mind? If you do, you need to start doubting yourself. The two of them convulse as if they have seen something impossible, spewing nonsense about an evil god. But they truly believe their nonsense. Watching them, I begin to waver. What is this? An evil god? Could it be true? Am I the one who's actually possessed, and they are the ones who are normal? Throb. A sharp pain stabs through one side of my chest. Right, it hurt. Soap is pain to me. A life that achieved nothing. A regret for that life. This pain, shouldn't I return it to the world that caused me this suffering? If the world took from me, shouldn't I forcefully take from the world in return and satisfy my own desires? The world has made us suffer. With that suffering, let us throw the world into chaos. That is my joy. Don't you remember? This oath. We received pain from the world. Let's return it in kind. Let's unleash this rage upon the world. Have you forgotten the oath we made together? As I watch the two of them flailing beneath my glass true fire, I fall deeper into confusion. What is this? What is the truth? Are the words of my two lifelong friends correct? Or is the voice whispering within me the real truth? My reason screams that I should believe my friends. The pet centipede I've been raising for fun crawls out of my pocket and scurries up my wrist. The centipede climbs onto the back of my hand and stares at me. I suddenly flinch in shock at the sight. Exclamation mark quote. Against the centipede's black shell, my white robe is reflected. For a moment, I am mesmerized by the sheen that shimmers around the pet centipede. Within it, I see something pure white. What I gave you. It looks like a white magnolia. Hut. I hurriedly shove the centipede back into my pocket. Do whatever you want. Whether it's a peach garden oath or whatever, do as you please. I break away from my friends as if fleeing. My chest feels as if it's being torn apart, but I ignore it. Even I don't know the truth. Did the centipede bewitch me into pushing my friends away? Or did it help me regain my senses? I have no idea, but one thing is certain. Whether it is this world or myself, one of the two is undeniably wrong. That much is clear. I continue using glass true fire, endlessly making soap as I have always done. Rather than using the authority to create soap with my hands, I stick to the orthodox method of soap making with glass true fire. Although my soap sales through Kim Young-hoon have been cut off, I simply sell soap cheaply to the villagers. Sometimes, I exchange soap for a meal or a sip of water. In any case, a sale is still a sale. And so, as I make soap, I continue contemplating this world. Thus, time flows, and flows again. Year 100. Pot. I feel my experience in handling soap has reached its highest point. The power of my soap reaches its pinnacle, and my authority evolves. Pasasasasik. I clasp my hands over my chest and release the inexplicable surging force within me through my breath. The breath passes through my hands, transforming into clear bubbles that float into the air. Watching the bubbles rise in the air, I realize I have become a complete soap human. After 100 years of handling soap, I have become soap itself. I am no longer human, but merely soap wearing a human shell. It's when I realize this. With a thunderous enlightenment, I realize I have reached the essence of soap. And the moment I reach the essence of soap, I instantly shed my human shell and become soap itself. At the same time, the memories that had been sealed beneath my persona for countless years erupt like a breaking dam. At last, I remember everything. I am the crystal glass being Seo Eun-yun. Not a resident of this world, but the true immortal Seo Eun-yun from outside. Warururururuk. Glass true fire blazes even stronger, and my pet centipede, my pet crow, and my loyal retainers, Hamjin and Yuhi, all clap their hands. You have attained enlightenment, Master. I have never seen Master shine so brightly before. So you have regained your memories. Hamjin, Yuhi, and Hong Fan laugh heartily as they embrace me. Hong Fan, emerging from my pocket and returning to his human form, looks at me with a satisfied expression and speaks. Have you realized something? Yeah, I see it now. I finally understand the terrifying ordeal I have endured over the past 100 years. This is the immortal art of a supreme deity. Inheriting the lineage of Salt Mountain, my heart and will, tempered for over 10 million years. The canvas of myriad forms and connections engraved with my colorless glass sword. All of it was destroyed so easily, nearly fixing me as just another character in this world. Haven't Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon already become nothing more than characters of this world? The immortal art of the liberation supreme deity Bong Myung is truly a terrifying immortal art. Even if it is to hide me from the light, the experience is so horrifying that I never want to go through it again. Thinking back, was it when I lost my reason to soap? Yeah, it was when I lost my reason to soap and revealed my pawn about it. Perhaps my mind had already been eroded from that moment on. It's an experience even more terrifying than Seo Whale's tainted soul filling the heavens. I will never forget the feeling of changing into something that is no longer myself. I speak of the realization I have come to. Bong Myung probably wanted to teach me this. That to escape the bridle, one must first reach its pinnacle. Oh, it is an enlightenment closely tied to the enlightenment of the flawless mantra. Perhaps it is only natural that Bong Myung would impart such an enlightenment, considering they are a supreme deity from the underworld. For 100 years, I accumulated karma in this world, and only after reaching the peak of that karma and becoming karma itself did I regain my memories. In the same way, to break free from any bridle, one must first reach its pinnacle. That is the realization they were trying to impart. Ha ha ha, Master has attained a great enlightenment. Congratulations. Thank you, Hong Fan. If Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon accumulated karma like I did. Warurururuk. From the distance, Jaeon Myung-hoon, now fire itself, and Kim Young-hoon, now pure voice transmission itself, come flying towards me. Both of them seem to have regained their memories. Seo Eun-yun, Seo Eun-hyun, the two land where I stand, eyes glistening with tears. Damn it, I'm sorry, I couldn't trust you this time either. How shameful, Eun-yun. In the end, we left you and committed countless disgraceful acts. It's only due to Myung-hoon telling me that they were the souls of sinners that I was able to free myself from some of the guilt, but, if not for that, I might have hanged myself. Indeed, both Young-hoon Hung-nim and Jaeon Myung-hoon have done wrong. However, Bong Myung would have given them sufficient recompense. They spoke of guaranteeing their next lives, after all. Of course, that doesn't mean you didn't commit any sins. Please take this experience as a lesson and grow from it, and atone for your mistakes by growing even further. Yes, your words are right, Seo Eun-yun. There is so much I have come to understand. I grasp the shoulders of Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon, and look up at the sky. The promised 100 years have passed. Your Majesty, the Liberation Supreme Deity Bong Myung. Please, release us. We have gained sufficient enlightenment within your arrangements. And so, the sky splits open, and we mount the seven-colored bird that descends from the center of the sky, returning to beyond. ... That is how I thought it would end. Quote. Quote. The sky remains silent. Maybe that Liberation Supreme Deity person is a bit busy. Ha ha ha, Kim Young-hoon lets out a hearty laugh, and Jaeon Myung-hoon also chuckles as he speaks. Ha ha, yeah, well, it was said to be 100 years, but it doesn't have to be exactly 100 years. There's probably some margin of error. Give it a few more years, and naturally. No, I speak with a hardened expression. The two of them are deceiving themselves. That's not it. Both of them already know deep within. They know exactly what kind of situation we are in right now. They are just ignoring that ominous possibility. But I face that ominous possibility head on. No, this is not a possibility. This is a fact. What do you mean, Eun-yun? Yeah, Seo Eun-yun. Even a supreme deity can make a mistake. When we got here, you explained the words of the Liberation Supreme Deity to us in a way we could understand, didn't you? That right now, in the Earth Boundary Heavenly Domain, the Owner of Light and several other supreme deities are gathered and holding a feast. Even if the feast was said to end in 100 years, it doesn't mean it absolutely will. Right, when feasts are held, they usually last longer than planned. Jaeon Myung-hoon. Use an immortal art. What? I said use an immortal art, Jaeon Myung-hoon. Right now, unleash the red lightning heavenly tribulation at full power. At my angry shout, Jaeon Myung-hoon flinches in surprise and asks back. Is that really okay? If I use the red lightning heavenly tribulation, this entire world will be destroyed. Do it now. Are you not going to trust me this time either? Jaeon Myung-hoon raises his hand toward the sky with a tense face. And the moment he stretches his hand toward the sky. Warurururuk. Only the flames he has trained for the past 100 years rise from his hand. Quote. Do you now understand? Jaeon Myung-hoon's pupils begin to tremble. His face gradually starts to contort. Kim Young-hoon's face also twitches and he draws his saber from his waist. Then, he swings it towards the air. At that moment, freeze. Kim Young-hoon's saber stops midair. Cold sweat begins to trickle down his forehead. Drip. Tears stream from his eyes. Quote. Eun-yun. Quote. What is going on? Quote. Creation nature. Brahma nature. They won't come to me. He begins to sob uncontrollably. Be Brahma nature. The martial arts I have trained, suddenly, like I have dementia. I can't remember them. I still remember the martial arts themselves. I can still use most martial arts. But, martial art techniques requiring the enlightenment of seated detachment, standing oblivion and beyond. I can't use them at all. I can't remember the enlightenment. Quote. I stare blankly at the two of them and smile. Quote. Yes, we have become mere characters in this landscape painting. It is truly terrifying. As mere beings within a drawing, perhaps techniques imbued with transcendent natures are not permitted. Then, what are we supposed to do? Co Eun-yun, you know something, don't you? What do we need to do? At least you can still use a portion of glass true fire and the retribution of the impermanence sword. What do we do? There has to be a way. However, even I don't fully understand the method of how I am able to activate a portion of the impermanence sword. Maybe if I study this for a few hundred more years, I might figure it out. But right now, there is nothing I know. And so, it is just when we are about to be completely consumed by panic. Russell, as we are about to collapse from the dread. In the distant mountain valley, the sight of someone walking particularly catches my eye. It seems to be someone dressed in a light pink attire.